Education is quality, technical, quality.
Mo ti fún volume má bínú.
Area and UK where I live.
Mo ṣe rí ní pé kò sí sound.
People that do blue collar jobs. I'm surrounded by people, builders. I'm surrounded by plumbers that have mansions. These conversations need to be had. We need to sit down, of our generation, sit down, forget the narrative that our fathers passed down to us about, or we need to sit down, face the truths. What is going on in your area? How are we going to solve it? What is going on in my area? How are we going to solve it? Listen, even if we don't even have unity. If we had unity, we'll be far ahead. We don't even really need to love. We need unity and tolerance. That is all. And be able to discuss and tolerate each other, and we'll move further. Let me submit for now because I think everybody's saying a lot of people are starting to talk and work already. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to recap, a lot of the things that you said is part of what myself and Doctor have summarized earlier. Now we have.
And I was here and I heard all of it.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you very much for your submission. Mohammed,
yes, I'm going to digress a bit from the paradigm of the this thing that entered by the Omoba, which happens to be a lady, but the name sounds a prince like. We were talking about the diversity being managed by RFI, and some people were suggesting it's not actually true. But I have a contrary opinion, just like I quickly interjected and said my wife happens to be from Southern Kaduna. Though most people have, I think Abba has said so much about what Samuel Awan is doing. But if you look at the label, or let me just even look at him himself, RFI, but this is an unconfirmed story, but somebody was trying to tell me. And if we look at it, it might be true, it might not be true. RFI was born in Funtua. Funtua, present day Funtua, happens to be in Katsina, not under Kaduna. And we all know those days, what do you call it, Funtua used to be like a railway hub where people come all over, to, settle because of the business of cotton and whatsoever. So there's this narrative that since that actually RFI is not even from Kaduna, no Katsina. Somebody was trying to say he is somehow bloodily related with the Ibra, but I don't know how true it is. But for the fact he is born in Funtua, there's that possibility that most people from Funtua are migrants. So that notion aside, I just want to clear that. Then about him managing diversity, we all know that it is not true. It is a case of power. So initially, before the RFI, they used to have this SOCAPU, or what they call them, that Southern Union Kaduna something Christian Association, who happens, to champion, it's a social, what shall I call it, cultural group that, consists of the majority of the indigenous tribes in Southern Kaduna. But that association is faulty in the sense that it is not carrying some other groups that are deemed minority by, their tribe or religion. Because my wife happens to be Nizam, and that Nizam tribe is a minority that you can find in Southern Kaduna, Plateau State, and Nasarawa State. And they are mixed up Muslims and, Christians. They cohabit and stay one another without problem. So I think one of the problems he faced was initially when anybody seeking to be a governor in Kaduna must go and bow down to those union, and they will give you demands of what you want. And they gave him, I think, demands, and the way RFI is, and he even disagreed with them. So he brought out Hajia Hadiza to champion a ticket, and who happens to be from Southern Kaduna, from that same Nizam tribe. But to them, she is like, because she is a Muslim, she does not really represent the people from that region. That is just their own narrative. Then if you look at the number of people, I think the, what should I say, the civil service is actually populated with many people from southern Kaduna extraction. Then the history about that lady that you were talking about, claiming she missed out on employment opportunity, I think that is false, because there is a narrative that probably, I don't know, period where the Vice Chancellor, that is Professor Curate, and I think the register is somebody's name, Dalop or something like that. They're all from southern Kaduna. There was also a cry of, them, giving job opportunities to people mostly from southern Kaduna. You can go and check, but I don't have the facts, but that was what people were clamoring as of then. Then when you talk about diversity, go and take a look of people that are actually working with El-Rufai. He brought people from all facets of Nigeria, all irrespective of tribe or religion. I think his PA or press secretary is a Yoruba person. You check the names, they are there. This one is not. Then as we are talking, I went and checked. There's a scholarship program that El-Rufai used to give out, that they call it the Sarkashim Ibrahim Fellowship, which, extends to all, people from Nigeria, provided you meet the criteria and you, pass the exams, the exams. And from the list of the successful candidates from 2018, I think there are about 16 names I saw, but I'm just going to highlight names that I feel that are not from the Kaduna or from the northern part of extraction. There's Eniyanya Danjuma Chuweke. One, there's this one, let me just mention the name so that you hear. Number 2, there's Aminu Rabi Usman. Number 3, there's Fatima Keshinston. Number 4, there's Muhammad Machido Usman. Number 5, there's Dorcas Kadang. Number 6, there's Zato Jemaima Magaji. Number 7, there's Abdul Hakim Mohammed Miko. Number 8, there's Ali Sani. Number 9, there's Abimbola K. Number 10, there's Ali Suleiman Tia. Number 11, there's Ibrahim Tasiu. Number 12, there is Michael Medubi. Number 11, there's Lionel Echa. Number 14, there's Musa Muhammad Kuna. 15, there's Abubakar Saleh Joji. Number 16, there's Rebecca Maulome Padun. You can check and you can Google the list. It is there. That's for the 2018. I don't have 2019 or 220 or 2024, but I believe El-Rufai was the governor then. So saying he's not managing diversity, it is actually false. And the problem is actually a power tussle between him and, the Sokaku and whatsoever. That's why they are having those issues. And yes, there are problems between the indigenous tribes, whereby, each community. But to be simply truthful and honest, it is a two-way thing. If this one attacks this one attacks. It's not as if particularly only the Fulanis are attacking and attacking. You see that the Fulani attack the indigenous people, and the Hausas that somehow the indigenous people end up attacking them. Or likewise, they can go and attack Hausa settlements, eat their crops. So that situation there in that southern Kaduna is a very complex situation, because there's this that is coming out and it's false. There's one brother that happens to be from southern Kaduna, the other.
Okay, thank you, Muhammad. I don't know if it's just your network or you have, we can't hear you. So, one thing I would like to say, we can't dismiss experiences. If they say they've experienced something like this, they are entitled to their own experience. So we cannot say that based on their experience, they are expert false. I think that would not be fair to people when they say, oh, I didn't get a job or whatever, say that no, their experience is false. And saying that everybody manages diversity very well or whatever, you see, when you talk about public administration leader, you cannot just say this is what a leader is, because it's not a black and white situation. There is a whole gray area. Sometimes in a year, someone can take very good decisions, and then he will take one bad one. The fact that he has taken some good decisions doesn't take it away from the fact that he also took bad. So that's why there is approval ratings. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we don't have this metric system of measuring of our leaders. So we can't say. But no leader is an absolute. There's no 100% in leadership. You can only maybe get a 50%, 60%, 70% in some cases. But even if you check US, you will not see someone who has, the last time the leader will have like 90% approval is very rare, which means the fact that you are an executive or either governor or president doesn't mean that you will not make mistakes. It doesn't mean that some decisions you take will not be rejected by some people, and it doesn't mean that as you are trying to make progress, you're not going to offend people. You will definitely offend some people, and they are entitled to come out and say you have offended, and you are entitled to go and defend yourself. So please, let's not say that some of the things, because that would mean that he's an absolutely perfect leader, which is not the case. He will still make mistakes. He makes mistakes. Personally, one thing you can give advice is that he is an executive, and the job of an executive is to get projects executed. That's why they call them executives. So, as an executive, he managed to take some tough decisions, and he managed to get things done in a lot of the places that he has worked. So, but that doesn't mean he's perfect. It just means that if you want to get some kind of things done, you look for him. If you want to get other kinds of things, you look for somebody else based on their strength. And we are just saying that everybody has his strength in some cases, and a lot of them, and he has his strength there. He also has his weaknesses. And based on that, we cannot say he's an athlete. So please, let's not use other people's experiences, because that leads to very negative experiences and very negative feelings among people. So that means that I promised that we had a team, so however, you can see today I have seen Shamsuddin and Abi Halim can speak here. Then after Abi Halim, we can have Apa. So however,
hello? Can I say something now?
Yes, you can.
Yes. I want to start from the person that said I'm a fanatic or something like that. I heard that word. I don't think you should use that word for me for saying the truth. And you try to compare Nigeria with America. I think there are two things different. Nigeria is not like America. Would never be like America. The difference is very, very clear, because they won't have them killed in Nigeria, in America, as they are being killed in Nigeria, and folding their hands to do nothing. The only thing they know how to do is to go and ask Sheikh Gumi to go and negotiate on how they will not be, the bandits and the terrorists will not continue kidnapping, killing, and raping people. And well, you said you weren't talking about whether Nigeria is going to split up or not, Adamu. But I heard you said that word. That was why I came to give you a response on that. And I wasn't being rude giving the response. So, I want to ask one question. You spoke about restructuring Nigeria. How, in your own point of view, how is Nigeria going to be successfully underline that word, restructured? I want you to tell me if, in your own point of view, in your own manner of thinking or what have you. How is it going to be successfully restructured that it can work for all? Number one. Then number two, your intention in saying, what is your intention in saying it can be restructured? What do you mean by that? How it can be done and what you mean by that? Because to me, Nigeria was designed never to work. Either you take it or leave it. Nigeria was designed never to work. I don't see it working. Thank you.
Thank you, Omoba, for your question.
She's asking me a question, Adam.
No, she actually said Adam, not
it's all about what I said that she's asking. It's all about what I said.
She actually asked me after. So, just
let me tell you what her questions is also an answer to her. She said Nigeria was designed not to work. She said, how would Nigeria restructure? So it means you are supporting the restructuring, and you are saying Nigeria was designed not to work. So it means
point of correction, wait, Mr. Abba, because excuse me, Mr. Abba, excuse me.
Nigeria was working. There was a time when everybody wants to come and invest in Nigeria.
That was the good.
Is as powerful as that of the Almighty.
I won't have you respond to me like that, because
I'm not saying Nigeria cannot work. If you do not believe in something,
wait.
If you do not believe in something, that is the first failure you will have in everything you are doing. If you did not try it and you want to say,
it seems you so much believe in Nigeria.
But I believe Nigeria can work, and her own belief that Nigeria will not work is the same thing as if she said her own house will not work. Because if we split this country into houses, the way she is believing, meaning that her own house, she cannot be able to rule her own house. That is the reality. So it is the solution that we are not going in. I am going to the office. That's why
for me to have wait, Adamu, Mr. Adamu, wait. For me to have, can I?
Omoba, I think the part where myself and Dr.
Wait. I won't have Abba respond to me like that, because he started a bit harsh, because I never meant to be harsh and I didn't disrespect anybody. You were referring. Wait.
I did not disrespect you either.
Wait, can I? But your tone, the tone you used, the tone. Yes. Can I say something? Can I say something, please?
You asked a question. Let me answer you.
But Abba interrupted. He didn't allow you to answer my question, and of which if I tuned everything I said. Excuse me, I'm sorry, but I feel it's uncalled for him to have responded the way he did. Why would he put words in my mouth? He was the one who spoke about somebody, maybe him or you, I don't know, somebody spoke about restructuring, and I was trying to refer to that, and he's putting it back to me that I believe in restructuring. Says who? How do you turn people's words like that?
You said that Nigeria cannot work.
I said Nigeria cannot work, and you spoke about restructuring. Can you explain to me how it can be restructured successfully?
Omoba, we must maintain order. If we don't maintain order, I'm going to send you people down to the audience. I apologize for Abba's interruption. He is not going to interrupt you speaking again. I will not tolerate any interruptions. I would rather and edit that to have people behaving and how
that kind of nonsense. So I know to suspect not to anybody, but there is just something that you can't tolerate. Therefore, coming back to your response, I had an open conversation with Dr. here, Dr. Dan, and we were asking the question, okay, how do we go about restructuring? Now, first of all, restructuring is not a project that one president can just decide and do. Based on our constitutional framework, our constitutional amendment, we cannot have an executive that will just wake up one day and decide whatever structure he wants. That's why we have a legislature. The legislative arm of government are the ones that are charged with changing the structure of the government through enacting the right laws and making sure that these laws are implemented as they were enacted. That's their job. So, for what we decided, what we realized is that there needs to be an agreement between the legislature and the executive in order to successfully restructure Nigeria. But we know from our experiences with our government that the legislature are not interested in representing their people. And because they are not interested in representing their people, they will not take decisions that will help their people. Because they are benefiting from the fact that this particular structure does not serve the people, instead it serves them. So we said, okay, it means that we need to do a lot of work. So how we need to restructure is simple. There are people who know that things are not working and they understand that they need to hold these people accountable. Nobody will do will change this structure to benefit the poor people of Nigeria without being coerced. Because the type of leaders we have today, they are not serving the interest of the people. But the people are more in number than their leaders. If we have 309 senators and we have 400 and something members of House of Representatives, and we have ministers, the total number of the federal executives that we have in Nigeria, they are not up to 10,000. And the total number of citizens across Nigeria are more than 200 million. So these few people are only able to do that because they don't receive enough pressure from the majority. Now, what myself and Dr. were discussing was that there are people like us who are aware of this problem. And so the first step we can take towards restructuring is that we need to be able to capture the majority, these poor people, because we are closer to them. We need to educate them on various things so that
òyìnbó gan ni problem mi bàbá mi Sunday Adébánjọ mi ò mọ̀ sọ dáadáa ó ń kọ́ mi lẹ́nu gidi gan ṣùgbọ́n àwọn Fúlàní là ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ Fúlàní àtàwùsá àti Ìgbò ló wà lórí ìkànnì yìí. So they are giving excuses as to why Nigeria should not break up.
Poor people who don't know.
Trying to manipulate things.
People come with money or whatever, take the money, but we need to get rid of them. And then we need to decide and elect new people who will execute the structure that we want. And this has to happen across all regions, because this is not a problem that is peculiar to any particular region. So what it means is that people who are educated and enlightened have to be able to reach out to the people at the lower level who are not educated, the people on the street who are dirty, who don't behave very well. We need to capture them, because if we don't capture them, the elite who are at the National Assembly in Abuja, they will come with money and give them indomie, and then based on the indomie, they will now cooperate with them, rig elections, and go back to Abuja. Meanwhile, we are left at the middle, and they are still left at the grassroots in their poverty. So we need to form an alliance with the poor people in our grassroots, and we will fight.
Of course, tó bá ń pè wọ́n gbọ́ Yorùbá, tó bá ń pè mí inú wọn gbọ́ Yorùbá, tó bá ń pè mo lè sọ Yorùbá, màá sọ Yorùbá ń bẹ̀.
We can change the structure to favor us, and then even when the people that we've elected begin to misbehave, we will still use that alliance to pursue them out of that office and replace them with better people. This is the way we believe we can achieve this restructuring. This is how we have concluded. I hope I've answered your question, Honorable. The next person to speak is Shamsuddin. So, Shamsuddin.
I can see Akin flashing or to come. So Akin, after Shamsuddin, we will have Akin, Abdullahi, and sorry if I didn't pronounce it. So Shamsuddin, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. The topic of
Bluetooth mode.
So now, as the topic says, I'm going to those Northerners, expatriate statements. I think this statement is as old as way back 1950s, 1960s, early 1960s. I must say this is a very important topic, and I think this thing that I'm going to say those years.
Excuse tí Fúlàní kan sọ bóyá Hausa ni bóyá Fúlàní ni ó ní wípé tá a bá pín òun ni mo response sí tínú ṣe ń bí mi báyìí ó ní pé tá a bá pín ipe Ọbásanjọ́ àti Babangida ti sọ nínú speech wọn rí pé àwọn bíi France America àti English wọ́n máa pick wa lẹ́yìn kọ̀ọ̀kan láti recolonize wa. What an excuse.
That's a policy, of the regional issues, the regional concentration, and the regional prioritization. So when Ahmadu Bello realized that the North has been left behind, and then there's the issue of dominance, of other regions coming to dominate, the North, while the North then was growing rapidly, just like it's going now. And I think what he has foresaw has come to me, because look at the population that we have in the North now. Look at the issues we are having in the North now, the crisis. I think there's a popular video on YouTube on that particular statement that he made when he was interviewed at the House, because he was categorically stating that the number of graduates dropping out the universities and higher institutions, if they come without a job, and in every government
tó bá yẹ pé òyìnbó sọnù tó ń sọ yìí náà ni ó dà pé network ẹni yẹn.
Okay, I think we've lost Shell today. I will have Aki.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. Can you guys hear?
A call interrupted me. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's what I gave him, Babami Amos Ade. I told him that in this 21st century, for you to have said that.
So I think.
So Tabakini Sinyi, you as an Hausa man, were fold away. Ipe kan wa recolonize after to ti gbọ́ history.
Let's check so that I can.
Let me just be quick. So I think what Ahmadu Bello did was in line with what regional government should do, because as at then it was regional government, and I think the structuring that the ones we're talking about, and I think Omova was talking about, I think that's to do with regional issues. Because if we are running a regional government, most of these problems wouldn't have happened by now, because you'd have been closer to your leaders, and the issue, the kind of diversity of the kind of wideness of the problems that we have, and the complexity would have been brought to a smaller issue. Typical example of regional government is like a very long mathematical equation. Equation is very long, it tends to be difficult to solve it. But when you put them in brackets and solve them in small pieces, bits and pieces, then you come and deal with them together, it tends to give you an easier approach. So now Nigeria is like a very long mathematical equation. So I think putting them in brackets tends to make the equation simpler in terms of solving them. So regional government is the ideal way to do. In fact, when Nigeria was the American
regional government,
believe me,
I don't know why you will never find any one of them speaking about Pekakmi and Hausa Fulani.
What we're talking about.
They are so scared to their marrows.
When it was formed, it was regional government.
And regional government was working in Nigeria because then the dollar, naira was even more than the dollar. And our economy was working. We were even dashing other countries' money. So Nigeria was working there. But believe me, it was due to selfish. I don't want to involve into those issues. There were so many selfish interests of some few people in Nigeria which we are still paying for, you know. So I think we should just rewind and go back to some particular turning points in our history, and then see, okay, when Nigeria was working, okay, as at when that Nigeria stopped working, okay, what went wrong. From there, then we'll see how we can fix it and we move on. Believe me, as much as we are seeing that.
Who is going to go back and do that one?
Nigeria,
individually or collectively? Collectively.
Believe me, we have more in common. Try going.
Don't let us pretend as if we don't know history here.
That's when you realize that your home is your home, and no matter how.
Which one is home now?
So I think we have more uniting us than what is dividing us. Yes, we have problems, of course. Even in the house, with your wife, you have problems in the house. Between you and your wife, you start problems in your house. An issue of dominance is everywhere. Even in plants, there is dominance. In plants, not even human beings. So the issue of dominance always happens. You know, stronger, you know, people or species or whatever is dominance is in the nature of existence. So we have to understand that. But what I'm just trying to make all and sundry understand in Nigeria is Nigeria is our home. We don't have any other home. Anywhere you go, you are an alien. If in Nigeria we begin to discriminate ourselves and say, okay, this one is minority, this is majority, what's more of going to another country that is totally not yours? You will be treated worse. So the issue is we have to come back and say, okay, let's rewind. Where are our turning points when there were significant changes? Okay, have those changes reflect positively or negatively? If this is negative, then let's rewind and change it. It's not a sacrosanct issue. We can go back and change it and say, okay, how can we move forward? Just like Adamu said, we have to sensitize our people. Because no matter how bad the situation is, it always favors some. But what is important is we want to create a situation where it favors the majority. There is no situation that favors everybody. It's not possible. Because even in a house, if you put a burglary and put adequate security, it does not favor the thief. It does not favor the the people, the person out to burgle. So there is no situation that when it favors the majority, it may favor the minority. Because maybe they have a different opinion. Believe me, the people that are enjoying the country now wouldn't want that situation to happen because it would not favor them. Right now, majority are not favored. So I feel we should go back to the drawing board and sensitize our people and see, okay, where have we gone wrong? What are the things that were not done when they were supposed to be done? The damage has been done. We have to accept that. Okay, now we are now under damage control. How do we now manage the damage and see how we can put a stop to it and then do some preventive measures and learn on the past? But believe me, this issue of marginalization, it will continue. Even if Nigeria is split into homestead, there will still be issue of marginalization. In a home of two wives, one wife always complains marginalization. So the issue is marginalization rolls back down to a single home. So there will always be that issue. But what is important is fairness. When there is a reasonable level of fairness and inclusivity, I feel we have to go that way. No country is perfect. Even the US, whatever country you're talking about, there's always marginalization. But the issue is understanding. People have to understand that, okay, now, we just want to have a kind of threshold that if we maintain, at least we will survive. You can't score 100 over 100 in an exam. That's not possible. We just have to get a reasonably grade that, okay, we feel we are comfortable and we are going to move. And those countries that are grading us, are having problems, who is grading them? That's the question. Who is grading them? They are self-anointed prefects. So they will just come down and just try to demoralize you and tell you that you are doing bad while they are the ones doing bad. Because they don't have any monitor. We have to have the monitor of the monitor.
Thank you very much.
You
made a very funny point.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So one bad say is important to what Shamsuddin has said. To be honest with you, I like to be, let's forget about being biased right now or being affiliated to one area. Let's be objective when Sardauna Sokoto made that statement, he was the premier of northern Nigeria. His number one priority was northern Nigeria. It's like a senator that is representing a senatorial zone. He was
Thank you.
House of Reps member representing his people. His number one priority was his people.
Was
so
his
he made
people?
That statement from the point of being the premier of Nigeria, not just as a Nigerian. That was his number one duty. And he made that statement. If we look at it from that perspective, I don't think we're going to blame him, because it's more like a senator that is advocating for his people. I'm a Yoruba boy, so it's not like maybe what he said kind of favors me as well. It doesn't. All I'm trying to do is I just place myself in his shoes. If I were him as a premier of northern Nigeria, what will I do? He was just trying to source for employment for his people. Having said that, see, the thing is, why I personally don't believe in Nigeria disintegrating is this. If Nigeria disintegrates right now, what are the assurances that the kind of political challenges we are currently encountering are not going to be encountered? How are we sure the Tinubos will not want to take over the southwest? How are we sure the guys in the northern Nigeria that are hanging around the cronies of power will not want to run for presidency? See, it's just going to be the same issue. And the challenge with that is, that means the Yoruba people that are working in Kano and not working in Kano again, they have to come back. The also people working in Lagos have to migrate back to Kano. There's going to be...
See your brother, see the way your brother is talking.
Small. We're going to, if you go on social media, what makes Nigeria a force to be reckoned with? It's just because of our population. Yes, our economy is good, but the likes of South Africa surpasses us. But because we have the buying power, we have the population, that is what is keeping us on the table in Africa. The moment we lose that power, we are just going to be the next Zambia. And the problem is, it's not just going to form three countries. Let's not look at it going to be Yoruba side, the Hausa side, and the Igbo side. No, it's not going to be like that. Now, the problem is, if you look at it in the north, people like Jos, that is predominantly Christians, are going to have an issue. They'll tell you they are not comfortable with going with the north. The likes of Benue, be rest assured, will not go with the north. If you go to Kwara State is a Yoruba state, but they have an emir. Now there's going to be a problem. Are they going with the northerners or they are going with the westerners? So if you go to the Igbo land, some Anambra men are not comfortable marrying someone from Imo State. So there are lots of, we're going to just form small bits of country. And for those
you take away any problem,
you can't just send something from Mexican or someone can send something from
most of you.
So there's going to be extra cost on every business transaction we are doing. So see, the case of disintegrating is not going to work. And if you look at it, we're young in our careers, we're young in our businesses. Look at all the world economies. They are able to sell their product internally first. The moment you're able to sell to your family members comfortably, that means it gives you confidence to sell outside. If you look at United States, they have the economy within their country. You look at China, they have it in their country. You look at India, they have it in their country. We are one of the countries that is next to population. We shouldn't be thinking backwards, thinking disintegration is going to solve our problem. No. The saying says the road to perfection is constantly under construction. That is to say, we need to sit down, analyze our problems. See, we have unique problems. There's no doubt about it. We have our own unique problems that is divided across religion and tribalism. You understand? We need to generate solutions that solve those problems. The moment we can come up with solutions that can solve those problems, then we begin to make way forward. But if we still want to disintegrate, trust me, because of we had that religion, because we're going to divide across religious lines, that's basic. But we're still going to have the issue of what's the name? Religion and what's the name of that one again? Please, I'm lost in my thought process. Religion and
but thank you, Jare Baba Mosade.
Ethnic lines. Thank you very much.
But she might not disgrace to give them mind.
That's the problem. I just start, the Kwara state is confused. If he's going to go with
to console the Fulanis.
With the Southerners. The same thing is going to be in places like Ireland. So, some non-Brahmin are coming to mind and almost a girl. Some will tell you that, they are also, and these are predominant problems. Those are things we should work towards channeling. We're young, please, let's have a positive mindset. It's important, not just for ourselves, because of the sake of our kids, so that we can have one big Nigeria and they can take us seriously, so that we can build our economy, so that Nigerians don't have to migrate all the time. We have the solutions. We know the solutions. And you see, the guys at the top, you see, the thing is, if you look at it, I like to look at it from people's perspective. Why we believe that it's possible is because we are young. They are already old. You can't pour a new wine into an old wineskin. You can't teach an old criminal a new trick. You can't tell them, let's restructure. The first thing that they are going to wonder is, where does that place me?
That means you cannot restructure.
My power.
You cannot break Nigeria.
The first thing we do is we always ask ourselves, what's the need for me? That's the selfish nature of human beings.
He's giving excuses for breakup. He's still the same thing. At the same time, giving excuses for restructuring.
They're going to give it to us on a platter of gold. But then we don't have to be forceful, but we just have to find a way to make it work. And that's where part of
what way now
is by getting involved in politics. You don't have to run for, but at least be close.
Getting involved.
If you're close to your home, get your voter's card. Vote.
Around
you. Tell the younger ones. I mean, that's why it's important. That for us to be on this platform discussing this on a Tuesday morning by past 9, that means we're passionate about Nigeria. It just takes the extra steps of being a role model to the younger ones around us, all the boys around us. Ask them before the voting, what are you voting for? Do you have a voter's card? You are going to get a voter's card. What are you voting for? Why are you voting for social person? Let them understand. If it's the 5K they are giving you, collect the 5K now, your money. If you vote for this person, look at the advantage.
Collect the money but no votes.
Look at the advantage, look at the disadvantage.
From your own brother.
If you collect it. But on that day, if you vote for this person in the next 10 years, this is what I envisage. If you vote for this person in the next, this is what I envisage. I want you to go do more research on your own and get back to me. So that on that day, that's the only way we can start creating a mind shift. Because with the mind shift of the majority of the voters is very, very eminent. Without that, we can't get there. We're talking about this engagement is like taking 2 steps forward and taking 20 steps backwards. If we these things we are talking, we are going to talk about it again in a smaller scale. But the economic advantage of it will be lost. Instead of selling a commodity to 500 people initially or 1,000 people, you start selling to 50 people, which doesn't make sense. So please, let's work towards a positive Nigeria. Let's stop thinking towards going back. There's no point going back. The bridge is burnt already. Let's move forward. Thank you. I yield the mic.
You made the solid argument, Akin. We have a second.
Thank you. Thank you, Adama.
Sorry, I hope I didn't mispronounce your name.
Oh, no. You're good. You even try. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we need to understand where we are as a nation, and so that we can be able to look at things, in the right perspective. Most of the time, we try to solve foundational problems with a modern day solution, because we do so by thinking that maybe where we are and what we are facing is as a result of maybe one person in the House, in the National Assembly not passing the right law and what's it. But it's quite clear for someone who can see clearly that the challenges facing Nigeria, other than the foundation of the very country that we live in. And this is the fact. The fact that Nigeria is not a nation state, but a country of nations. And it is equally very clear that
at the foundation or the formation of this nation, there was no buy-in of all the nationals within the country, Nigeria. And that's why you would have someone come from the south in the past, and he will not be thinking for the country, but at the back of his youth mind, he's thinking regional. There is a foundational challenge with the country. When nations, become nation states, it's expected that the entire people are given opportunity to determine how the way and manner in which they should be governed. And that's when you begin to have strong patriotism. Whether you have someone, in the leadership position, they would think they will be. And that's why you continue to have our leaders, year in, year out, not being patriotic, not even thinking about the country, or either thinking about the ethnic nationality or themselves, where they can. And so we must get back to that foundation, correct what it is. To not do so, or to wish it away, or to shy away from having such beautiful conversation, to believe in a full power, and to think that we'll be able to speak Nigeria, it's absolutely utopic. So we cannot ask ourselves, what is the solution? The solution is us refashioning, the very foundation that brought their country together in such a way that everyone will not say, what should be the system with which we are to be governed. I have to say this. Desire of the people about how they should be organized and how to fashion out their future is entirely a fundamental insight. And so we should not be, sharp in calling people out who are having an opinion that maybe we need to sit down and we fashion out, the very way we should go as a nation, right? Because clearly we understand that when Nigeria, the very foundation holding us was formed, the nation did not sit down on the table and decide how this union should look like. We understand clearly, and that's the very foundation of where we have the problem. So you begin to have people thinking regional or thinking ethnic, along ethnic lines, even when they are holding national decisions or in positions of national, responsibility. And that has led.
Thank you. That is why it is becoming a cooling start. Baba me.
To continue to shy away from these very foundational
Please, Ross.
issues is to live in a fool's paradise and to be very parochial, to say the least. And to also have a bit on what my brother King said, that one of our greatest is not. We've looked at the economy of population and we've come to that conclusion. Some economists have come to that conclusion that even the current population of Nigeria is a problem. Because you look at some countries with a population of less than 5 million people, and their GDP cannot be compared to Nigeria. Nigeria cannot measure up. You look at countries with a population as low as 1 million, and they are doing exceptionally well beyond the imagination of our Nigerian population. And so it is quite, not totally correct to say, that our population is our greatest advantage. It's not. That's been one of our greatest woes.
Thank you.
We should tell ourselves the truth. And the fact that if we so decide that the various ethnic nationalities within our country, Nigeria, should fashion out the way they should go, probably separate into their respective units or nations or regions, that it will cause problems for maybe someone from another region living in that region, is also fallacious. Because we have related even before the Union Nigeria was formed. We have occasion to interrelate with each other, to
trade with each other, and I believe we will continue to do so, even when we see Nigeria divide along regions or any divide.
Ṣé kó yẹ kó ọmọ Yorùbá yẹn kó dọwọ́ bojú?
We will decide to go. We will still relate with each other. We will still do business with each other. And it will now give me an ample opportunity to now come to maybe another region and say, oh, you have this, you have that. I don't have this. Can we find a way to work together so that probably I give you what I have and you give me what you have? That's our nation, trade with each other. In fact, it would stimulate greater economic growth across the erstwhile, nationalities that was formed into Nigeria. So it would stimulate greater economic growth and greater sense of patriotism from the leadership of those individual nations. So I don't see any problem with us relating. And so people still do business everywhere in countries that are not theirs, and they thrive. Right? And so it is also not totally correct to say that separation would cause a problem, ethnic problem across this, various areas. It might, but it might not at the long run, because nations relate with each other on different levels. And so it's important to also look at that and understand.
Thank you very much, Ochoyson, for your comment. Do you want to round up in a few seconds, or you are done with the... do you have any final comments?
No, I think probably I should use the mic. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can you give a minute response?
Okay, I can see people responding. So let's have an interactive conversation. Yes, what I mean is let's just have an interactive conversation where everyone can just chip in. Let's just allow.
That's why I'm begging for a minute or two.
Okay, go ahead.
I just grab 2 points out of what your colleague just said now. You see, there are 2 things that I can say, which I don't think you understand him very well. You see, one, there's a misperception on what you just said. You see, this country was formed with the input of all the regions. There is no way you expect everybody in the country to contribute to your constitution or formation of the country. It's always representation. And believe me, Nigeria was formed with representation. From the south, from the west, from the east, from the north, there was representation. That was that was why there was regional government there. Those people that formed the first constitution of the country were representatives of the various regions of the country. And like you said, like I think said earlier, Sardauna was the premier of northern region, and he represented northern region in the formation of the country Nigeria. Yes, there were so many changes that were made. A constitution usually gives birth to a newer constitution. Once there is a change, is a product of the previous one, modified, and then a new one is brought. Just go and look at it. It's like a transformation, like let's say evolution. Like in the science, there's a human evolution. It's like from something more primitive, something newer. It is a part of the previous one. So what we got now as our constitution is an evolution of what was created before we were all born here. So the issue is Nigeria. There was representation when Nigeria was created. Honestly, we shouldn't be saying this. There was adequate representation there, and it was working. Yeah, some changes were made, but unfortunately they were negative, and that is what I keep saying. How sure are we now the changes we are clamoring for will go positive? Because there were changes that were made in the constitution that was early created before, thinking that it's going to be positive. Now it turned out to be negative on us. So what assurance do we have that when we do these changes, it will be positive on us? That is one. Secondly, you made mention of tribes, that we should divide, okay, let this tribe determine how they are going to work. I don't think you have an idea of how many tribes you have in Nigeria. As of 2017, when I checked, we had 371 tribes in Nigeria. 371 tribes in Nigeria. So imagine these tribes telling them, okay, go and form your own individual countries. That's fun. It's not even possible. So no matter how you will separate the country, there will still be agitation upon agitation on the issue of marginalization, on the issue of non-inclusiveness. You know, there will always be that. It's just like I'm telling you, a long equation, putting them in bracket and deciding to say, okay, I'll split them. You will still have to solve them in smaller bits and pieces. So what is important is, okay, Nigeria, there is a strength that we have. You have to acknowledge that. We all know that. There is a strength that we have in Nigeria. That's what we call Giant of Africa. And our decision affects the entire Africa. Believe it or not. Because our population, purchasing power, number, diversity is all power. But when it is not used correctly, it tends to give us a problem. It's just like a gun. It can be used to enforce them.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
I think I need to respond to this.
Yes, if we continue to split this country, we still have these problems because we are so divergent.
All right.
So I think regional governments will just try to put their problem in a smaller facet so that it can be solved in smaller pieces.
They are monsters. They are trying to protect themselves.
That's why I believe restructuring should be more of like a regional issue. Okay, now let's go to regional government just like before. Because Nigeria has operated under regional government and it flourished fine. Okay, fine, let's try that now and see. Okay.
Why are you trying it again?
We have a regional issue. It is now, we have to now group these tribes into smaller, segments whereby the divergent views and opinions will now be reduced into smaller ones that can be easily handled. These are the things that I think we should just look at and see how we can manage it more, in a better way. Because right now we are so divergent, we are so divided, and we have so many, wide opinions. We have so many differences, that are coming together. When we are trying to plug this one is breaking. So I think when we go back to regional government, is the first step. I think is restructuring, so that the government will come closer to us, and then we will have a more common ground, to agree with. I think that will be better. Still having the country as one, unifying our strengths, and then the differences we have, trying to break them down and see how we can deal with them in a smaller facet. I think this is what I and Akin were saying. Maybe, I don't know whether Oteoman has understood us better now.
Yeah, let me just throw in my point before he runs. Let me just throw in my point as well, since we're the same thought process. I do agree with you, work on our strengths, mitigate our weaknesses.
Akilo sorrow you.
Otuokom gave an example of smaller countries that don't have much population and their economy is working fine. How many? I agree with you. That's a very valid point. But how many of those countries are in Africa? Africa is a unique region. We have our own challenges, and part of our challenges is this. Okay, I'm lucky to work for a multinational. And when they call up the numbers, trust me, African numbers are lagging behind compared to other countries. Why? Because we are not industrialized like the other countries. Most of our commodities are being imported. That is to say that if we divide, instead of working together as one, creating industry so we can sell within and create more buying power, by the time we disintegrate into smaller countries, that means to say that our investment for fuel will reduce and we cannot get more industrialized. So dividing does not help our narrative. Look at all the countries that they have small population and the economy.
I need to respond to this.
They are not in Africa. They are not. We're unique people. We have our unique challenges. We shouldn't use the group
for one challenges. It will work. Our mindset, the way we think, is totally different. So we need to find solutions, permanent solutions that are centered around our current way of thinking. It's very, very vital to our process, to our progress. I yield the mic. Thank you. I'm sorry, one other important point I want to say is, while we cannot go for mass, everybody has to talk. A very good example is the just concluded European Union exit by the Britons. Now they are regretting it. They want to go back. Why? Because most of them took that decision based on the fact that we are losing jobs. The
Siberians are coming here. All of them are coming all the way from European countries.
Says who they are getting it.
Because of, for their survival, they are going for lesser rates per hour. So because of that, they are taking our jobs. So European exit. And now the problem is they are buying their foodstuffs at higher rates for the ones they don't produce. Even their farmers cannot take out again because now taxes have increased. I watched on CNN. I watched a particular guy. He's a farmer. He has a ranch. He bought the house close to the border so that he can easily take it out to get across to the customer. That is to say, to save money on logistics, which was working very well. But after the EU exit, when he saw how much it will cost him, he's crying. Now he's raising a decision for voting to opt out of the European Union. In fact, the last time I watched, the European Union are coming up against an idea to stop using English as the number one acceptable language in Europe. They say because if the English are not here, then why are we still using English? You see, that is the strategic advantage they've lost because they decided to pull out, and that is a very good example for Nigeria to learn from. So please, like I said, let's take example. While Samshiro was talking, it just occurred to me. Why is Tesla the number one vehicle now? It's not as if there were no cars before then. It was because they came with a total different solution. We cannot design a solution that meets the current challenges. That is what will make us stand out. Thank you, and I yield the mic.
Thank you, Ani. I just want to make another analogy. Thank you. Can I respond to what
Otu Ekong. Ọmọ Igbo ló sọ̀rọ̀ yìí o.
Thank you, Shams. Thank you. Yeah, I would agree we shouldn't be so strict using European or any other analogy.
Ṣé ń gbọ́ nǹkan tán sọ? Mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ni mo ṣe pa kíní mi.
But you see, whatever opinion I have, whatever opinion you have, whatever opinion every one of us have, our individual, it's also important that we have that. But then, what is more important to me is to what the larger population, larger nationalities in Nigeria want. That's very key.
Thank you. The larger populations that wants Nigeria to remain as one. Once you find out that, then you know the answer to your questions.
We should indeed be very of unity that has done everything to be right. But at the same time, be ready to embrace solutions that might unite you. And so the fact that done in certain ways, and there is need for us to continue to bind the country together, is not to say that certain other people.
Mo ní láti pa máìkì mi kí ló ti porúkọ ẹ̀. Speaker yìí nítorí mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀. If not, ó máa tún máa contradict nǹkan tí mò ń sọ.
And some of these nationalities are facing existential threat, and they will tell you this plainly. They will give you their reasons why they say they are this existential threat. I don't believe they are reality. But if they said it's only right that we also listen and give them a listening, ask them, okay, what do you want? Right? What do you want? We cannot continue to reach, unity with the point that people have, have been, a tribe or a nation.
Bluetooth mode.
The fact that we would divide also means that we cannot unite along economic lines. Nations relate and interrelate with each other based on national interest, right? So these nations will continue to relate with each other because already we shared some form of relationship, being the fact that we had one belong to, an XY country. And so it would be easier to begin to trade not
to South to North.
ọmọ Yorùbá nìkan ló máa ń lọ káàkiri gbogbo kìíní tó máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ negatively about pé afẹ́dájọ́ Yorùbá nìkan.
After people, what do they want? For me, I would say let's ask everyone what do they want, and then whatever be the advocate of their opinion should decide, should form what the way going forward, and we should not unilaterally assume that entertaining such statements is contrary to the growth of Nigeria. I submit to you.
Thank you very much. I just want to draw our attention to one fundamental fact. I think for majority of young people, their biggest obstacle is experience, knowledge, and awareness. And before we got into these discussions as young people, and before we became just aware of our problems, there are so many people who have written, there are conferences, there are seminars, there are workshops, there are even a national conference was organized. But I bet majority of us have not even read the proceedings, and we are not even aware of what the discussions were. There is no argument that has been brought on this platform that is new. Like whatever opinion we think we have, it has been expressed better with references, with cases, with incidents in those reports. But we don't even read them because we don't even know that they exist for most of us. So I want us to, but because this is just an expression, it's a platform for us to express mostly sentiments and feelings. We will continue engaging in these things. But for people who are genuinely concerned, I would refer you and read the recommendations and proceedings of the National Compact Report of 2014. And you will see that your position is not unique, it's not new also. And you will hear from the recommendations that whatever you think you are thinking, there are people who have been paid to think thoroughly about these things and to propose solutions, and they have been doing it. So this, what is the solution? We should pass that stage, and that's why my recommendation for people who are concerned about this is the solution is to force implementation rather than to think of problem and solution, because that has already been done. And if we continue this exercise, we will continue wasting our time and doing this in futility, because it has been well organized and documented for us to go and read. And then what we need in reality is we just need to mobilize ourselves and say, everybody come and see this solution that was recommended. Let's agree and implement it and force the people that are responsible for implementation to actually do it. So I saw Dr. flashing his mic. Doctor.
Yes, thank you. Well done. I think there's really that understanding that when there are problems, there can be solutions, and a potential solution can lead you to salvage what is good and recreate or reimagine what has failed. And this almost keys more into restructuring. Just also to say that much earlier in the day when the conversation started, in fact, a lot of speakers were saying, for those who are saying the country should be allowed to pass with, a lot of people have said, if that's the case, let it even let them go ahead, because there's no need for bloodshed. So there's even that understanding amongst a lot of young people that there's no need for really a bloodshed. In fact, somebody even made a comment that the country should be allowed to separate, and he predicts that in a decade or two, people will come back and say, okay, let's renegotiate our.
I think I find this one interesting.
So,
home units, one sort no election, no war. Then what exactly do they want?
Their respective let's say component entities or nation states or representatives to account. So the issue is how do you do that in the confines of a restructured country, or do you opt for another option? And really, the truth is that if you look at even a lot of submissions up to the National Political Reform Conference, the conference, you can see that
no election, no war.
Are actually very valid, and it would be nice for
no election, no war. Then what exactly do they want?
The 2014 conference.
The comments
the implementation does not have to be 100%. You can start. You can look at it and say, okay, this one applies to the conversations we're having. Let's start. So it gives the impression that we are working towards, a particular goal that we all agreed on. Because the challenge with the 1914 amalgamation is that even though that they were representatives from every region, it still wasn't a representative, reasoning behind or philosophy behind the amalgamation. It was largely British.
So
when people like Abdul, they come on Clubhouse and they create topics like this because they believe that they have the military might, and they believe that because they have hijacked the armed forces, that means that they have the upper hand. Same way they will sell the electoral process to you as an alternative because they believe that they have the upper hand there as well. Abdul, let me say this to you because I'm going to talk and I'm just going to leave because this, the title, I was
LAGBA. Fulani look
very laughable to me.
The title is worst.
Abdul, you cannot push people to the wall and not expect them to push back. I can also see that in the hallway, governor has created a room with the title, with this title that is also very funny. You people will be creating rooms with titles to taunt people and to ridicule the pain of the oppressed people. It is not fair.
It's not fair.
I don't know if this is a new tactic, if you guys have a WhatsApp group somewhere where you planned it, but whatever you are trying to achieve, it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. I'm going to move myself back to the audience now, and if this room derails, then I'll just leave. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your submission, but I think I've been in Clubhouse for some time now. I think this is my second time I'm opening a room on Clubhouse.
Imagine.
This is my second time. The first time was for fun, and the second time is this particular, this topic. This is my second time of creating a room, and I've been in Clubhouse for a longer time now. So if you said I have, it's even funny, but I think it's clear. There are rooms that people open about a lot of things, future short, blah, 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 a lot of things people have published. So if I go to a room that I feel I don't like what they're talking about, I'll leave the room. I can stay in the room in the gulag without even coming up to talk. I must not talk in any room I go to. I even stop talking about it because I feel it's just a waste of time. We can't be talking about one thing for months. It's not productive. That's the reason why I opened this room. So my reason why I want is no election, no war. So I want something within the no election and no war. If there's something within those two parts, let's see how we can work on this. We can't be writing every day. And we talk ourselves, we think we're educated. What is education is for us now? Let's tell ourselves the truth. The saddest thing I think the use of nowadays, we're trying to avoid the real issue. We're trying to avoid, you don't want election, you don't want war. For heaven's sake, am I wrong to ask this question, please? Let someone educate me. Maybe I might be wrong because I might be wrong, please. If there's any way I'm wrong about bringing this topic,
you're so wrong.
I'm wrong, and this way I'm wrong. No election, no. It's obvious. They did first in the room because I was the mod, but I wasn't the one that created the room. Someone was saying election doesn't believe in election, and he don't want to vote. I asked him a question. He beat around. He didn't answer me. And I asked another person. People were just telling me I should stop even wasting my time. This guy will never answer it. From the way he's going, he don't want to answer my question. So I created a room about it today. So if you feel the topic is not cool for you or liking, I think there are many ways to leave this room. There's live quietly, there's put your phone in flight mode, there is even knock your phone in the ground. You have plenty of options in this room. So I don't see anything. If I'm wrong, someone please, you guys should tell me. I might be wrong actually. But if I'm wrong, please, someone can tell me, okay, this way you're wrong about this topic, please. I would love the next person that will talk should please put that to submission, please. Kaka.
Yeah, I do. So it's unfortunate that you allow that to just speak and then run away. And
this is what
Kaka, I can't control what people say, and I can't have them to stop my first. Please. She said what she wants to say. If you want to debunk what she said, you can debunk it anytime. Somebody is always active on Clubhouse. So anyone will meet her, somebody, you say something in the other room and want to debunk what you said. Or if you have a finger in and address the issue. So sometimes they are interjecting. You guys provoke her. You could not allow her to talk without you interjecting. Maybe she must be here. But the way
she was insulting everybody.
The way you guys were blinking on mic, you feel she will be attacked. And even me personally, I will even advise her to go.
Bó ṣe máa ń ṣe nìyẹn tó bá ti rí pé ẹ challenge wọn. They will respond insultingly, in an insulting manner.
So next time if someone is talking, just allow the person to land. You want to descend on it, bring all the Odudu and Ariwa and Biafra and down on her, but allow her to land as solution. Because I have the floor.
So I think basically everyone has said the same thing. The fact that you only put two options before us is either you have an election or you go to war. You know, so if you don't want to have
I give three options. Why you guys always no election, no war? Then what exactly?
So what is the
third option? The third option. That's what I'm saying. Exactly what you want. What is the third option? That's what I'm trying to say. I want to know. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. This question is not a question, please.
Well, there are several options, and you don't expect people to just give you their whole plans. You know, there are some that you have to keep to yourself, and every option is open, right? Every option is open, and the fact that you might be looking at it that okay. And when we talk about referendum, you say no, referendum is not part of it. So you're asking for the third option, and someone has said referendum before. So why did you say referendum is not part of it? It's not an option. Tell me.
Because it's not in Nigerian constitution.
It's war in Nigerian constitution.
It's not, okay, you said no. Everything said no. You're trying to.
No. I'm asking because you said they said the referendum is not in the constitution. You just said you should go to war with the citizens.
Kaka, let me make you understand one thing. I'm not against your preference. Go. I don't give a fuck about Nigeria. Let me do it.
No, I'm asking you the same question you're asking.
Kaka, I'm the Nigerian. How to put it in Igbo. I don't know if the Igbo Yoruba. Let's see it this way. There have never been a Nigerian president. Like I think let me put it in Angola coming from. There has never been a Nigerian president. It's either Yoruba or Igbo and Hausa or Fulani. True of us. There have never been one that this person is a Nigerian president. There have been never one. It's either Yoruba, Hausa or Igbo or Fulani or Aegean or what's good luck language. There has never been a Nigerian president.
Igbo president to.
I'm coming, bro. You can correct me. You correct your assumption next time. What I'm trying to say here now. Why I tell you, because we keep on talking about these two things. Election is not working, and people say they don't want war. I also don't want war. Election, it might work, it might not work, I don't care. If dividing the country is the last option, let's divide the country. I'm not against anyone, but how can you divide the country? If it's by war, let's do it. What I'm saying, referendum is not in the constitution. You can't bring it, just like you go into the restaurants now. Ask them to give you apple, and they say there's no apple in that restaurant, and you still insist. You must give me apple. Does that make sense? Kaka.
But there is no war in the constitution. Also, there's no way in the constitution stated that if someone wants to leave the country, then go to war with the person. Is there any way? Is there anything?
Can you read my topic and make a solution on that? If cannot, please, let's go.
They don't want to be challenged. So, why would you open a room when you actually don't want to be challenged?
You don't want to answer because the option is I have an option, right?
Open a room.
Let me tell you my option.
Open a room, invite me, and ask this question or respond to you. But
this
okay. If you cannot,
what's your mansion here?
I think that you must not talk.
What's your mansion here?
It's difficult for ourselves.
They don't want to be challenged.
The option is referendum. That is the third. That is, you say what exactly, right? We want referendum.
Okay, how can you get a referendum?
How can I get a referendum? Okay, we are working on it through minutes. We are working on it through civil disobedience. we are working on it through means that I may not disclose to you here. So referendum is also on the table. So basically what you need to understand is that it's not just those two options. And there's the option of referendum, right? So we have the third option, which is the referendum. So when you ask us, we'll give you that option. And that option, we can achieve it. There are different means of achieving it. You know, hopefully, we'll achieve it the way we want to. So when you say you don't care, if we want to go to war, we'll go to war. I have a simple question for you. Why is it that people always bring war to the forefront when people say they want to leave? Because I listened to someone the other day, and he said that because if people say they want to leave, some people might look at it and say, now someone from the north, in Fulani, he said that some people might look at it and say, okay, these guys want to leave, let's start killing them. So why should that be? Why can't you say, okay, these people want to leave, okay, let them go? Especially when it is obvious that you don't like them. Any little thing you complain about them, you say they are the ones spoiling your country. And these guys want to leave. And you don't want them to leave. And you don't like them. You believe they are the ones spoiling your name, spoiling your country. But you don't want them to go. Why? They say they want to leave. You let them go. It's that simple. But when you don't want to let them go, you now tell them that it's either you stay or it's war. It has to be one Nigeria or you stay with your blood. You know, and you are keeping Nigeria with gun. One Nigeria with gun, with blood. Is it right? So, basically, Abdul, what I'm telling you is that there is a third option, which is referendum, which is going to come. If it doesn't come, well, any other option you get, you take it. You know? So, we are going to continue to push for it, and it's going to come. That is all I have to say for now.
Okay, yeah, referendum. Yeah, it's a nice point. I agree with that. Referendum can come, but referendum also come through election. Because you have to go pass through the normal procedures and it has to be election line. Thank you for your submission.
No, it's not. You are getting me wrong. You are getting me wrong. It's not true.
Okay, how can you get the referendum? Let me explain.
Yes, so
play a scenario of it.
Yes, first is to tell you that constitution we are operating is wrong. It wasn't agreed by any. It's a fraud. Because that constitution started by saying that we the people. And who are the people? That's we, the people. When you say we the people, that means you mean that the ethnic nationalities came together and they had a referendum and said this is what we want, which never happened. So for the fact that we don't have that constitution is declared null and void. It is what? And if you follow NINAS, you know that NINAS has already declared it constitutional force majeure. So what it means is that for now there is a standstill. There is nothing like that. Is why we tell you that elections should be halted, right? So for now, we don't believe in that your process that you're talking about. Yes, that process is rigged, and there is no way you can achieve anything through that process. So when people say go through the election process or go through your representatives, they're only letting you know that we are in charge of that process. So you just go and try. You say that you fail. Or someone will institute a lawsuit from Kano and say, let them have a referendum. All those things are distraction. We know the game. You know, so that you now relax and say, okay, yeah, so they are already working on it. And you relax. You know. So all these distractions, we don't allow them. Fine, if you want to walk through that means, it's good. We don't have only one means. You know, we have different avenues to achieve it. But referendum we are going to get without going through any election or voting in any of those guys that are only there to fill in their pocket. You know, so don't put me and say that it's
okay. Kaka, what you're saying is not referendum. That's revolution. I think he just used a couple different. You see the referendum, how does referendum works, the process, and how revolution works. So what you're trying to say now is more of a revolution. I don't know if I'm wrong. Can someone correct me? Can someone correct me, please, if I'm wrong here?
I think you're wrong. I don't. You see, when you say, sorry, what's the word you used again? When you say
a referendum is a process to determine, right?
Yeah.
And what you're saying, and before you have a referendum, you have to pass through the legislatures, and there has to be a vote.
You don't have to go through. You don't have to
vote. Okay, you can have revolution. You can have referendum without voting.
You can go through. There are instruments through the United Nations that you can, where you can get that done, and actually have the United Nations monitor it, especially when you are concerned that the current constitution of your government, or maybe the current constitution of your government, for instance, our Senate, our House of Representatives, will not be fair to that very process. So I'm not an expert in that. I'm still listening and learning by the day. So I think when you say a revolution, it has this violent connotation, especially among Nigerians, that is actually similar to calling for a war, and which is not what most people want. How about we talk about, I know you said if you don't like your approach, start your own room with your own topics, fair enough. But how about we look at what actually do people want? How about that?
I'm coming. I want to get something straight. Believe me, I'm learning here. I don't have anything on my head. I don't have, I'm not an expert in any number. What I'm saying is here, every country has ever had a referendum without an election. Anyone, please, I want to know, I will do my stuff later, but I want to let someone have an idea. Does any country has ever had a referendum without election procedures, without anything, just they have it through UN or anything? Just
I couldn't answer you that question. I wish I know. Again, I'm going to have to go back.
Let's fund that.
It is actually an interesting.
Someone is pressing his hand. Let me try to answer to that. So that I also understand. I want to understand what's going on. So I do connect the had me a beg. And if I did book for a beg.
Olembe. Okay, now let me explain. Yes. Okay, now, so you see, like someone told you before, the UN generally has these instruments that can allow for a referendum. The referendum itself is an election. No, listen, I heard all what you're doing. The referendum itself.
What I'm saying, does any country that ever have a referendum without votes? I'm just curious.
No, I'm trying to explain to you. The referendum itself is an election. Okay? So, people decide whether to have a referendum or not. So, what precedes a referendum is a decision, not an election. So, for instance, the National Assembly in Nigeria could decide to conduct a referendum. The UN could decide to conduct a referendum, but the referendum itself is an election. So people will elect whether to remain in the status quo, as in this case Nigeria, or they will elect to, go create another country entirely. So that is your answer to the question. I don't know if it's clear, Abdul.
Okay, fair enough. Because I want to place Kaka. Because I was placing in the war part, but now I'm just thinking about the election line. So I just want to know where I place him. That's why I just asked.
Now the election is not what you call election here. By election, you're talking about 2023.
And I'm generalizing it because he brought.
No, don't generalize it.
I'm coming. He brought the issue of referendum. I'm trying to use the referendum attached to what he said. That's why I asked. There's any country that ever have a referendum without a vote? That's why I
Abdul, see, look at it. Let's make it very clear. By election, you're talking about 2023.
Look, you're missing it. He said there's a referendum, another option. So I'm trying to use that referendum as its own option because I got 2 options here. He brought the third one. And the third one is referendum, right? So I asked the referendum, what's the process of referendum? How does it work? Is it through the government agent? If it's through the government, then they attach to the election again because they have to elect those criminals to be there, even proceed for the referendum. So if there's any way that the country can have a referendum without an election, that's the way I asked the question. Of course, so it's across. So you understand? So that's why I want to know where it falls into the kata. Because where I placed what he said, I was thinking he was going towards the right of revolution. That's the reason why I want to clear that, so I won't go with that mentality. Okay. So you just clarify it to me now. I understand you now. Your own mind is election and through election, even through referendum, election will be attached to it. So, but I'll still get on research and see if there's any country I can go in the next second. Have every country ever have a referendum without an election? So maybe before the goes on our mind.
Can I help you with that question?
All right.
So an example would be the UK Brexit thing. So they actually did a referendum to say how many of us in this country want to remain a part. Excuse me. How many of us in this country want to remain a part of the EU, and how many of us do not want to? So what they did is what is called a referendum, where people choose whether they want to be part of, a bigger union or not.
Scotland too.
Okay, but there was an election about that. You just ask people to be online or call them on the line, or they can do votes, or how do they do it?
Oh, there's a system where they vote. There's a system where they vote, but it's different from your normal periodic election where you choose.
Why would they had me now? Look at people today. That 20% election, that one, I was talking about the referendum itself. I will give an option, a referendum. So I'm building my own understanding based on his own referendum, please. So you guys don't beat my head up, please. I imagine.
Abdul, sorry, before you bring it now, say, look, for instance, in the Nigerian case, our politicians can say, oh, there's so much debate or so much agitation going on in the country. And one of the things people are agitating for is a referendum. So our House of Assembly can say, our National House of Assembly can say, they can debate there and say, okay, let us organize a referendum. However, that is, organize a referendum for the people. Our National Assembly can do that. However, the international community, through the UN, can also make a decision to conduct a referendum for the Nigerian people. So whatever the case may be, the referendum process itself will allow for people to decide, to participate in this, you want to call it an election or whatever, to decide whether to stay or to leave the status quo. I don't know if it is clear. So what Kaka was saying was that, fine, you have 2 options here very clearly, election, no election, no war. Those are you have the election, which is the way we understand it, a total of normal 2023, normal process, okay? That's one. War is another option, but in between, you could have a referendum, a dialogue, okay, which is neither one of these 2 options. So you could have a referendum where the people, the ordinary people, will decide whether they want to continue having the normal Nigerian situation, or they will decide that no, let us create new nations out of the present day Nigeria. So that is the 3rd option.
All right, I get you.
And to follow, Abdul, sorry, let me just clarify from the Nina's perspective, right? What Nina says is this: you will have this referendum from the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, right? The Igbos, the Jos, the Efik, the Jukun, the Ibio, then all of them will sit and say, okay, they will have their own kind of election now or referendum, which will be monitored by the UN. But they will have it. It is not INECO. So when you say will there be election,
or will there be referendum without election? This is not INEC coming to conduct any election. The ethnic nationalities will decide, monitored by the UN, if they want to remain in Nigeria. Okay, if they want to remain in Nigeria, how do they want to remain in Nigeria? So you even find out that in some cases, some people might even say, is it even possible that if you have a referendum tomorrow, that the Igbos will say, we want to remain in Nigeria, but we want a confederate nation? You know, it's still a possibility. But at least let the people decide. If the people decide, you can ask them, well, your people chose and said they want to stay. You know, it is different from when people are feeling that you are making us staying in this union with the barrier of the gun, you know. So, referendum conducted by the ethnic nationalities and then monitored by the UN, not the regular INEC election.
But okay, Kaka, I agree with you. What you said, you have a point, but truly, I think you should do more research. UN don't have that position, but I think you should put down research since you speak. Yes,
they said they will monitor. I think they will monitor. I did not say they will conduct.
No, I don't think.
Just mind you.
I think it's not on their line, but too much.
With the question, is it possible to have a referendum without an election? Yes, if you want to, what the definition of a referendum is here, it's actually the voice of people. Now, here is a typical example that case may be. Let's assume that the whole southeast, south, you know, decide not to participate, and they have made their voice there, and there was no election at all. The question is just that we can't have a president without that particular region voting based on the Nigerian constitution, because within the Nigerian constitution, you know, you need to win, I think, a certain 25% or within the south and the southeast.
Shall we put any hand room here? What a coward. Go ahead,
that they don't want to participate in an election and there's no election. So that's a typical example. Now, could that happen? It may never happen, but the answer to your question is just that the people have a referendum, and that referendum is their voice. They withheld their vote, and that actually goes against the Nigerian constitution of how you can elect a president. Now, so that's the chance, that's a big possibility, and that can happen. Will that happen? I don't know if that may happen, but that's an option here. Now, here's another thing I want to also submit when it comes to the regards to agitation. You know, people, there's no war, there's no election. There's this notion that if there is a war today in Nigeria, that the Nigerian army would win, or the Fulanis would win, or the North may win, or maybe whichever you want to put it. With the modern day of how war, you know, goes by, there's no certainty that would happen, you know, that the Nigerian army would win. Because if you look at the way other countries that have vested interest, in other countries, just imagine a situation where you have both the South and the Southeast come together and decide they want to go for a war against it. You will have other interests that comes in. The Russians might want to jump in, the Americans want to jump in, the Chinese want to, because there's a vested interest there. And in that case, you find out that nobody wins. And in a normal war, most times nobody wins. They will back up a certain region and fight against the Nigerian army. So the notion that if there's a war today, we'll just go in and crush them, you know, it might not happen in this 21st century. You might not win that election. So when people decide and say, oh, war, you have to think twice that things might go against, you know, your
thought of what a war is, we just live in Nigeria. What if we have a situation where the Russian comes in, or the American comes in, and they back the Southeast and the South with their own ammunition, aircraft, all of that? You're not going to win. So I think number one, the advice from me in terms of the Nigerian government, let's sit down and have a conversation. Because the reality is just that Nigeria is not working for anybody. You know, we have to sit down. If not, we'll find ourselves in this particular situation where there's always an uprising, there's always an agitation, there's always killing. It doesn't benefit anybody at all. Now to my Igbo brothers here, I think we have to look back within ourselves and say, within our own region, the structure, the institutions within our own region itself, they are not working. The Fulani man does not come to actually the South to rig election. He doesn't come to the Southeast to rig election. They are not the ones running the civil service institution within the Southeast. It is us that is running it. And within ourselves, we are not actually running this institution to make it more persuasive, enticing for somebody to say, yes, I think, you know, having a state of our own, a country of our own, we are going to do much, much better. We are not running our own state and our community effective to the state that someone with a pride from a cross river state say, you know what, I want to join force with the Igbo man and let us have our own country. So within ourselves itself, our institutions within the state, local government, state government, the civil service, it's not working. So somehow, I kind of like doubt how effective that particular country would be, whether you want to call it IPOP, how effective it would be, because even at the moment, you know, there are tribal wars. I know within my own state, Akwa State and Aba, we have tribal wars. There are killings even in between, you know, those tribal areas. So we have much more problems that we have to solve before we start agitating for our own country. So that's my submission between the Nigerians. Sit down, let's have a discussion, because if you're pushing for a war, you might not win the war. If you're talking about a referendum can happen even at all. And on the other hand, I think my Igbo brothers should sit back and start developing your own institution. If you make your own institution attractive, you would have other states that want to join up, you know, with you. The same way that you have here in Europe here. You know, most countries want to join the EU. Why? Because the EU as a state, as a country on its own, is very effective. The economic wise is growing, it is booming. And when other countries feel that joining up with the EU and having that single market will benefit, they want to. If we have the Biafran state, the economy, everything is moving, their institutions are working. Honestly, you don't have to persuade other states. They will join force. And when these states, for instance, assume River State joins, Delta State join, Akwa Ibom State join, and you look at this particular state has these resources, believe me, countries like Russia will see vested interest in there to come in here and support you in whatever agenda you have. That's my submission.
Thank you, nice. Sorry, you referred certain things. I stopped you. You have the floor. So you asked your question, or you did a question, or you want to make a submission, then we'll go back to Twitter.
Okay, so I think I'm happy that almost everything has been unraveled, given the fact that people have actually shed light on the process ahead. As a matter of fact, the issue I had initially was to your question. No election, no war. Then what exactly do they want? Because at the end of the day, you, of course, the question you asked was to unravel a problem, a dilemma. And you're asking the question and you're not allowing people to...
Thank you. You don't want to be challenged as to how why you opened the room.
All the ideas that have been put up so far.
It's in the blood.
And I'm happy that I think you have gone past that level. Thank you.
We see on PCR. Okay, Louis, you go first because okay, let me. All right, Anton, you're coming after me.
Okay, thank you. So just two quick things. Number one, Abdul, I understand that you're the moderator, but being the moderator does not mean that you can make slight and rude remarks. I know you try to keep everything under control, and I know that's the job. I'm happy I'm not in your shoes. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can make remarks about people's education.
Thank you.
Intelligence. Please, you're the moderator, but you should still respect people to that one. Two, I don't see why anybody should have problems with people blinking their mics. Blinking the mic is silent and non-intrusive. But having said that, I see this as an opportunity for everybody to understand each other, for us to bring our ideas to the table. Somebody from the other side of the aisle understanding me at my side of the aisle. And there's an important question that I think I would love you and perhaps any northern one Nigeria person to help me understand is this. Why does the conservative North insist on being in an alliance in the same country with an infidel South? It's an important question that I think if we understand it, it will help us to move forward and perhaps to stop all of this back and forth and be able to see, okay, this is why. So why does a conservative North want to remain in alliance or in the same country with an infidel South? Thank you.
Okay, I think I made it clear. Let the country divide like God. You just talk about education right now. You just say something that should not. I don't think I've talked to anyone disrespectfully in any way.
Of course you have.
I just made it clear. I don't care about one Nigeria. You've never heard me say one Nigeria. During the session, I don't care anyhow it comes. I'm okay. If Nigeria decides to divide into three, fine. If they decide to say one, I don't care. It's not my problem. So asking me why, I just made it clear before I started this one. I need it clear. I don't care anyhow it comes. So the thing about some people blinking their mic. If you're talking, a lot of people are blinking their mic. Your train of thought will lose. That's the truth. And why are you blinking your mic? You know you're not talking mic. It's on PCR order. And someone is making a submission. You keep on blinking your mic. Why? And there's no reporting. When everyone makes a submission, we'll go to the next person. You've been in this room since this room started. So blinking your mic, you know you're not going to talk next. So why are you blinking your mic? So I don't think I've talked to anyone disrespectful here. I made this room as calm as possible. I want to make a submission and leave the mic to the next person. I don't think asking me that question because I don't even know how you try to put it. I don't care. Let me say it again. I don't care how it comes. If I bring just by 10 man, I don't care. Please. Adam.
Can I respond to your response? You've talked
again.
I should have an opportunity.
Let's put Tony to quarrel. I think when you respond to Tony, to fire to quarrel.
No, don't worry. When you talk, I'm not talking again. You just talk next. Once you don't talk, you just hold the mic. I won't come back again. I'll push my mic.
Okay.
So
when you say that you don't care, that's not exactly true. Or maybe I don't understand what you mean by you don't care, but you obviously have a position, and it's obvious in the kind of questions and reports that you issued that there is something that you're defending. I've not particularly said I'm defending a particular issue, but from the positions I have taken, anybody listening knows what I'm trying to defend. Everybody here is trying to defend something. So even if you say, oh, I don't care for blah, 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 in the kind of questions that you ask, in the kind of answers that you give, in the kind of reporters that you give, your position is clear. So you
it's clear.
Something you care.
All right, thank you. Adam.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to say we should try as much as possible to tolerate each other, even if we have varying opinions or ideas. I was in a group earlier. So I think I saw some of people in that group here, and it was an AWO group. I realized I really didn't know the mindset of the AWO, and everyone had a grievance. Okay, everyone has a grievance. Personally, when I read through history, I figured out that nobody is a saint, but some are greater sinners. Okay. Coming to the issue of no election, no war, what exactly do they want? I think that question already has an answer from the person that asked the question. It's a simple thing, and that hasn't echoed too many times over now. I don't think I don't think there's a question, unless maybe you're disconnected from the South. Unless you're disconnected from the South, it's a very painful thing that somebody is asking this question. You're in Nigeria. We are suffering in this country. The talk about suffering is beyond suffering. I cannot tell you how much personally I have suffered in this country. And for someone to say, then what exactly do they want? I want to survive.
I tell you.
That is the general demand of living, right? I just want to survive. I don't really care anymore. And somebody said something that annoyed me. And talking about the governors, stop with that old narrative. Stop with that old narrative, okay? The Igbos have said, I am Igbo. We want to go on our own. We want a referendum. It's a very simple issue. We're not trying to take anybody's land. We're just trying to take our own land out of Nigeria, even if it's just a circle. I don't really care about anybody's states or Igbos outside the Southeast. I don't really care at this point. They can join us 10,000 years later. I don't really care. Just give me my own state. Let me get out of this country. So if I want to apply for a visa, I want to get out of this country, I can get out easily. I'm not trying. See, we don't even really want to leave this country so we can stay in this country. We want to leave this country so we can get out easily out of this country. Do you know how hard it is to use a Nigerian passport? Do you know the things I've been through because I'm Igbo? No, I'm going to tell you my own story. No, see, don't tell the Igbo man that he's not oppressed. So what he's saying. He's saying things because he has suffered. I have suffered because I am Igbo. And nobody should try and gaslight me and try to wipe out my memories. I have my memories intact. And I say this with all the passion in me. We want out. It's just simple something. Go and give it to us. That's all we want.
He's not saying anything again. As he said, seems it's the network.
Is it my network?
No, it is network. I can hear you.
Okay. Hello, are you done? All right, we're talking next week. ID Autosimus.
Yeah, can I just say something? I stumbled on this room this morning and I said to myself, no, please, just leave us alone, right? We have decided to go. We have decided to form our own nation. It doesn't have to be through war. But if you guys want to go to war, feel free to do so. Right now, the state that we are now, as a people, that is the Southwest, the South, the Southeast, and even the Middle Belt, we have reached the decision. We have one leg out of the door already. What rooms you should be creating now is to tell us, convince us on why we need to stay in Nigeria. Not for us to come and explain to you guys how we are going to go about it. We have looked at our situation in Nigeria today. For people to come out and say they want to go, you should know that they are planned. We have our roadmap, not roadmap to achieve that. So if you want to convince us to stay, don't come and tell us, come and stand in front of you like you are a headmaster to explain how we are going to do it. When you guys strategize on how to keep us
it's painful. It's painful that we can progress. I want to progress, make money, enjoy life. That's all I want. I really don't. Wait, see. I'm not calling anybody. I'm not calling anybody, but
I think he doesn't know that his network cut off. Your network cut off.
He's not aware.
You're cut off for like 5 minutes. You are cut off for like 5 minutes.
Let me just finish quickly, because I've decided not to engage in such discussions on Clubhouse any longer. Right? You people should now be setting up rooms to tell us why you want us to stay, without asking us to go through an election process superintended by a fraudulent professor. And then if we don't get our wish or what we voted for, you tell us to go to a judiciary superintended by someone as a foreigner. So it's a no-win situation for us. So you guys should come up on the table now and say to us, okay, this is how we are going to go about it, so that you guys can feel included in the system and we can fix the system ourselves. But this merry-go-round of, oh, you come and tell us how we are going to do it, how we are going to achieve it, how we are going to do this, oh, you go to your representatives. Okay, let me give you a suggestion, right? Because I keep hearing people tell us, oh, we in the north, we have the ears of our leaders, we have this, we have that, we can talk to our reps, we can talk. Okay, fine. You know how quick it was for you guys to set up a hearing on banning Twitter? Right. Help us. We ourselves in the south will go to our own reps to say, let us sit down in that mass and draw up a bill to agree a referendum before 2023. If you can do that for us in the north, well, all well and good. Let us go through that process. But asking us to wait to 2023 to engage in a fraudulent process is not going to work. So please, you guys, I beg of you, and I beg you now, leave us alone. If you don't like our agitation, fine, it's all well and good. You do your own thing, let us do our own thing, and we'll meet in front. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Atom, finish your submission.
Okay. I'm going to summarize. I'm not going to debate this time.
No, come on. You came here with a lot of passion. Don't summarize.
My point is, I want to have a Muslim friend. I don't know if Hausa, Fulani. I want to have a Yoruba friend. I don't know. I don't really want to know. But in order for us to do this, we could have our own country meet at the Olympic Games. I think that's why it exists in first place. Meet at the Olympic Games, challenge each other. If we win, we win. If we don't win, we celebrate nonetheless. We meet there. We see. There are some friends you don't see every day, and there's a reason why you shouldn't see them every day. Because if you were to live in the same house, you will tear each other apart. But that distant friendship is actually what makes your friendship stronger. Let's have that. It isn't working. My tribe, my people have lost 3 million people to go back now. 3 million. If you lose 3, I wasn't in the Arawa group and they were talking about Sardana or Sokoto. Fine. I was appalled that people you call Delta Eagles, and when you meet you say they are not part of us. They're actually the ones who killed him. Fine, that was terrible. Nnamdi Azikiwe did not die. In fact, that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay? It doesn't actually make any sense to me. Fine. So 1 man versus 3 million, someone was justifying it and said, you don't kill somebody, and then when they try to kill you, say they shouldn't. No. I don't want to talk about the war anymore. Anyway, all I'm saying is that we've lost 3 million. The population of an African country, I can't remember. I saw the post on Twitter. They said they are just 2.1 million. You killed a whole country. I'm saying you because definitely some of your ancestors must have supported it, even if you don't, and they have blood flows in your veins. And in fact, it's thicker than water.
What are you saying that
you just allow me to talk.
That's the truth. That's the truth. My father's opinion flows in my vein, and no matter how you choose to deny it, that's who you are. I took up my father's opinion. My father was in a war, and he's carrying the scar of the war till this. So you can't tell me that the war hasn't affected me. That affected me. That affected my family. So my father still carries the scar of the war till date. We've lost too much for a useless country that has no meaning. The word Niger means black. It's actually an insult. Niger area, Niger area, that's the meaning. It's Spanish. nigger is Spanish for black, corrupted to NIGGA by the black Americans.
Very angry,
nigger area. That's the meaningless name we're bearing. So since we don't have any purpose, we don't have any direction, we should let people with the direction go. The rest who think that they have a direction should make us jealous by succeeding. Thank you.
Thank you, Adi, but Yemi before the dawn.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Is it my turn to go? Is it my turn? Yeah. Right, so topic of the group is no election, no war. Then what exactly do they want? I think, like a lot of people said earlier, I think the title of the group is quite disingenuous in the sense that it's not really accommodating for a lot of people to state what they have to say. It's quite targeting, if that makes sense. But I believe that a lot of people spoke about that already. So I think the Nigerian problem is the fact that we tend to oversimplify things. Or if it's not this, it has to be that. If it's not that, it has to be this. The Nigerian problem is multifaceted. It's intertwined. It's really, really complex. It's not something that can be solved through the stroke of a pen or through war. We've seen all of these things happen. We've had a war. We've had elections. At some point, you had people, claiming to be pro-Nigerian. At some point, you had protests. You had a lot of things. You've tried a lot of things. And the only thing that we've not tried is, like a lot of people say, referendum. And at the end of the day, you just want to give yourself that opportunity to, try, what you've not tried before. Because you've tried a lot of things. You've tried elections, war, still the same thing anyways. But for me, I think the solution to Nigeria's problem is really, really going back to the past and understanding how we came together in the first place and what we did wrong and how we're fixing it. I personally don't believe in the breaking off of Nigeria into equal parts. I don't believe that. It's not really going to solve the deep-rooted issues. It's going to solve the superficial ones. Oh, this is against us, this one's against us. That's going to solve the superficial ones, yeah. But the deep-rooted ones, the issues that we need to solve as a people, as humans living in that country, is not going to end with just secession. I think the solution to Nigeria is having a clear ideology as a country. I was speaking in a room earlier, I think 2 years ago, 3 days ago, and someone said, "What is the Nigerian ideology? What can you identify as being a Nigerian?" And the truth is, we do not have that clear ideology as being a Nigerian. So, from even before amalgamation, even after amalgamation, when you signed the North versus South Protectorate, when you amalgamated them, down to the 1967, 58, 59 elections, down to the 1963, even throughout the coup, we never had a general ideology as a country. It's always been the Western people, the Northern people, the Southern people. And from time, became stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And it for every situation that we had, it always has to be blamed on someone else. Okay, say for example, in the 1960s.
What's happening?
My network?
Igbo South. Okay, so we had the issue in the 80s as well with Buhari and.
Àwọn believe pé Nigeria máa pín.
Please, guys, my network, this network, please.
Hello? I do the network. Okay, okay. I mean, your network is bad. Can you go out of the room and come back? Maybe your network will be good.
Is it clear now?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Okay, so I think what do they want is not the issue. It's solving the deep-rooted problems in that country, and I think the solution to that is just having an ideology. Either way, going away from the country, breaking away, or staying together. I think what we need to be talking about is having a clear ideology as a country, whether it is the southwest, the south, southeast, northern countries. We need to have a clear ideology of what we're doing. We do not have that. We do not have that Nigerian identity at the end of the day. We don't have, this is what makes me a Nigerian, this is what makes me believe in staying in that country. And you would not blame people that have agitations, because Nigeria is the shit at the end of the day. We've been through 60 years, being together as a country, and there's really nothing to be proud about at the end of the day. It's just individual achievements here and there, and that's just Nigeria, we can identify that. But as a country, we don't have a common, we're not homogeneous enough, and I think it's just something that has built on with time. We further grew apart rather than together. So I think the solution, or in my opinion, what I think we can do is, sort of build a national identity or a national ideology of what we want. Because from head to toe, from the leadership down to the common man, we have issues as a country. We have deep-rooted issues. I'm not going to go into that. It's a different topic at the end of the day. And that is not going to end with, secession. It's not going to end. Even though it solves the superficial problem of these people are against us, we need to send them away. These people are against us, we need to stay our own way. It's not going to solve the deep-rooted issues. And I think until we have a clear ideology of what we want as a people, south, east, north, middle belt, wherever it is, until we have that clear ideology of this is how we want to operate, this is how we want to move forward, none of the options is going to be, it's not going to be enough for either side at the end of the day. So,
Alright, thanks. Okay, you're busy, right? Okay, done.
Okay, no problem. So basically, I noticed usually what I try to do is avoid being part of people who actually repeat what is popular, because usually what popular knowledge tends to be usually.
Abdul, you called me? Yeah, I called you. I saw you blinked your mic. I thought you.
Yeah, can I come in, please? Can I please come in?
Alright. You don't blink. Can you order for me?
Okay, you don't please give me some few minutes. Good morning, everybody. Yeah. I've been here, I think, for like a little bit more than 1 hour now. So, Abdul, I would like to ask some few questions, and I wouldn't like you to take it personal, okay? Because I grew up in Nigeria, I have many full of friends, Hausa friends and stuff like that, Igbo friends. I don't want to know where you're from. I have friends with many. So, but since I've been hearing you,
Yoruba,
like you have this nonchalant
attitude.
I don't know where it comes from. So,
what's nonchalant? That issue to get on me. What's nonchalant?
Like someone who doesn't care, in your words, like you said, I don't care, whatever,
He says I don't care, but it doesn't mean he doesn't care.
Okay, let me clarify something for you, so that don't make your submission wrong. I'm coming. The reason why I created this room, so I'll tell you the reason.
Okay.
We have been going in the cycle for the past 4 months, repeating ourselves every day.
I understand.
I'm coming. Let me laugh so that you understand the reason why I created this room.
Okay.
So that you understand, right? So I feel we keep on talking about one thing every day, and this politicians keep winning every day. I feel we, the youth, now I think we're doing the work for the politicians unknowingly, without even them paying us. Great, because we descend on this topic, they'll bring another thing for us, we'll come and talk about it. Instead of for us to consider, okay, how can we solve this problem? I'm coming.
Yeah, because
so that you understand what I'm saying now, bro. Okay, just finish your submission.
I need to compose myself. Thank you very much.
So I want to give you so that you can have your composer very well. So
I understand you. So I will still say what I have to say, regardless.
You sound also like someone who has some kind of privilege in the present situation of the country. I don't know I don't know if you grew up in the southwest or not, because if you are Fuller, you might also grow up in the southwest, whereby you know many Yorubas and stuff like that.
I was born and brought up in Bauchi.
Okay, good, great. So thank you very much. Thank you for that. So I will ask you some questions. As far as I'm concerned, you are a matured person, you are grown up, you have education, and then even though you've been on the clubhouse space, rooms for months, you have educated yourself as well. Even though today I can imagine I've been listening to you, educated yourself as well, because a lot of people come on board try to explain what meanness to you is, which you don't believe and understand, which I'm really happy about. So my question goes like this: if you are Yoruba, you understand what I'm saying? I want you to put yourself into other tribes' shoe in that contraction called Nigeria. I don't want to speak anything personal, too much emotion, okay? Just come in perspective of a human being. You understand what I'm saying? So if you are Yoruba, you understand what I'm saying, or Igbo, or Middle Belt, if you are from this tribe and you've been hearing a lot of things going all around West Africa, like the Yorubas have been, Yorubas have been killing people, all around this West Africa. The fought war in Congo in 2012, 2013. Presently, they have issue with Dogon in Mali, things like that. And in Nigeria now, these same people, Yoruba, they are killing a lot of people in Nigeria, killing Middle Belt, killing all those stuff, killing Fulani, killing. What would your state of mind be? How would you feel? What condition would you be now? Would you say the same thing like, I don't care, things like this? I just want you to understand that question. If you really don't understand it properly, I will want you to please ask again. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like saying in the simple sense, like, would you put those other tribes in your own shoe? Let's pretend now that I am a Fulani, and you are a Yoruba, or you are Igbo, or you are Middle Belt. What would you say at this point of time? Due to the present situation of the country, due to the history that you have been hearing about those who have been, grabbing land, killing people in the name of Islam, raping little girls, killing women, beheading, human beings like an animal.
Good question.
What would you say? Can you please just try to be civil and don't try to be political correct? Don't try to sound myopic to me, please. Can you please tell me something? I yield mic. Thank you.
I think you have allowed me to explain myself to you. Okay. Maybe you will have not even asked that question. I just made it clear. Because even when I said that, I said, I made it clear from myself. Wherever you say there is a Fulani agenda, agreed. The Land House agreed. The Sharia, I don't want anything to say, agreed. If I have a exam in the north, 100, and they give me admission in the north, agreed. If I have 2 credits and they give me admission in university, wherever you say, I agree. Everything. Whatever you think about the North, I agree. I don't dispute. I'm tired arguing. I'm tired saying it's not so tight to engage people, but I'm tired of doing those things. That's why I asked this question.
Okay.
What do you actually want?
Okay.
So that means I didn't deny you. All the questions you asked, I didn't deny that there was no. So whatever you want to ask, you will have allowed me to land.
Okay.
Tell you might not even ask this question.
Okay. I understand that. So I appreciate your response. If your response is from the deep down of your heart, if there is no any hypocrisy behind it, yeah, if it is real the way you said it, so look at your then what exactly do they want? Do you think you should say do they want? You are part of it as well. You understand? If Tula, it Tula sounds good when you say what exactly do we want, then it sounds like you are part of it. But it sounds like you have a privilege somewhere, I'm just trying to say, I don't know if you really understand me, like the way you...
No, yes, I totally understand you. Like, really,
yes, the topic I place in here, it should be, to me, I don't know if I'm wrong, it will sound more well when you say, what exactly do we want? And people can understand you. Maybe you've lost, you don't even know where to go. You yourself don't know where to go. You need people to enlighten you. But when you say, what exactly do they want? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you exclude yourself, like, okay, you don't care if there's election, if there's war, but some people are saying they don't want election, they don't want war. So what do they want? So that simply sounds like, I don't know if you...
I agree on all things you said, and I agree on the topic you said.
Okay, thank you. So I can now continue to agree. So my point is just like, look.
You know what? You're trying to suit this to your narrative.
No.
I'm coming. Let me. I agree with you. I just want you to conversation to move on. But I want you to understand you before you make a submission. Why I said no election? Personally, I don't believe in the Nigerian election. I don't believe it so. So I also don't believe in election. What's the next thing to do? If it's war, let's do it. If it's election, let's do the election. So let's stop this nagging coming to the clubhouse and shouting every day.
Right? Okay. Abdul, if you want to go to war, would you war with Yoruba or would you war?
So you need to have the Yoruba. You need to understand.
Okay, I think let me move on. So you can see now. You see, it is written on the wall boldly. You can hear the noise of a lot of people. You hear it. You know it. Ever since you've been on this clubhouse in a few months, you said you've seen a lot of people clamoring, agitating, sensitizing people, even though you benefit from this sensitization. As I can see. You understand? So now, what you yourself, what are you contributing in order to make this whole thing possible? What part are you taking? Are you also signing Nina's referendum form to speed up the whole thing? Or to know that, okay, Abdullah is from Bauchi, is also supporting the integration, or are you just trying to stand at the fence? I don't know. So that is one thing as well, because you and I have to take, we have to contribute in making this integration of Nigeria to exist, because you see that country, like said, I don't need to repeat what everybody has said. It's not for you and I. And then, it's just for the interest of the Fulani Caliphate and the British government. And look, it has never been good at any point in that country. And this is the first time in the history of Nigeria where people will be coming out, agitating, seriously. People are dying, killings going on every second in that country. Every day, if it is not Igogon, it will be in the north, it will be in Nasarawa, it will be in Bauchi, be in the south, south or whatever. Every second. So, and you still want, we start to be in that umbrella called Nigeria. It's not possible, because you see that country, it's illegal. None of our traditional leaders participated during that amalgamation of 1914, which was also fraud in a way. You understand what I'm saying? And because a lot of people will come here and be saying, let's not go back to 1914, let's not go back to 18 something. Look, before Usman Dan Fodio, which is great-grandfather of the Fulani came to our part of the world in that northern country. Look, people are living greatly there. Even though the Hausa are fine, they are living like kings. I read in the history. I mean, it is not, I don't really think he is the one that even brought them Islam. There was Islam in the state. Yeah, I will round up. There is Islam in the state before he arrived. There is Islam in the south before he arrived. People brought Islam during their trade in Africa, traveling to Mali and stuff like that, and then they had Islam. And then him saying he brought this to them, he brought that to them in order to make them this and grab the land, grab everything, and the whole thing come to chaos that we are experiencing up to date, that the next generation are carrying along. I think it is high time we start telling the reality. If everything is from your heart, as you said it today, I want you to go back to your people. Talk to them. They are your people. Talk to them the way you are, towards here. Try and have a meeting with numbers of foolish like you. They said,
you LAGBA.
You have to engage in a great conversation with your people. If truly you are talking to us with a good heart,
with a sincere heart. Not that you want to come and manipulate us here.
Just to send you to your people and engage in a great conversation with them and come back to us and bring things in the table. What do you stand now? Thank you very much. I yield to Mike.
Okay, Chief, just hold it. Sorry. Before you go. Okay. Yomi, let me say a scenario for you. Do you think me talking to my leaders will it faster than you talking to your leaders? Which one do you think is more faster?
Abdul, I'm not saying you should talk to your leaders.
Is that what you just said? I don't have access to any counselor.
I said talk to your people.
My people.
Talk to your people, your fellow Fulani brother. Check their mind out, because you seem like trying to stand on this in this room like you are pure, you are for people, you understand them, you understand their problem, and you are for the people. The same method you have to go and give back to your people. Talk to them, sensitize them. If those who are those who are sensitized,
I understand.
You will meet those who are already sensitized like you.
All right, Yomi.
From one's consciousness, not
Yomi. It's okay. I heard you. It's okay. I heard you. Thank you. You done.
Okay. Basically, I think understand. People seem to have to be kind of relentless in this pursuit of not fraud, and then for what I can understand is like a lot of people are pontificating, trying to give advice to people when you are not perfect. So usually they say pick the bugs out of your eye before you actually pick the bugs out of somebody else's eyes. So yes, obviously what's happening in the north is affecting the rest of the country, but also what's happening in the south is affecting the rest of the country. So there are a lot of problems in Nigeria, you understand, which we should just focus on the ones we can fix and forget about the ones we can't. If everybody focuses on the ones we can fix, then the rest of the country will develop. But you come in to give somebody advice, I don't think that sometimes it's condescending to patronize. It actually makes sense that you speak to people, and it goes both ways. Speak to your leaders. If your leaders repair themselves, the country will be repaired. And problems in the country are not perpetrated by one set of people, perpetrated by everybody. I was staying in Lagos recently. Lagos is rubbish. And those problems are not, 90% of the problems I went through in Lagos had nothing to do with the federal government. Absolutely nothing. The gutters in front of the houses, state government. The lack of drinking water in your pipes, state government. The lack of, proper revenue collection for buses and taxis, state government. The fact that nobody stops at a bus stop, state government. I can name like a million. The fact that we don't have street lights, state government. I don't know. So basically, and it's like that everywhere. Lagos is supposed to be one of the most developed states, and it's a rubbish state to stay in. they have like flooding everywhere. I'm not talking of the ones that you can't control. I'm talking of the ones you can control, like the Sule and the rest, which is away from the lagoon. Yaraba flooded perennially, as in annually, basically twice a year. The teaching hospital, you understand, is a huge swamp that has not been cleared since I was born, and that is just one of the problems. The hold up there is insane. The suit in the sky is from hell, and and that is those are just minor problems. You get your seaweed infestation, which is happening consistently now for federal government. So because of that, sometimes your the ferries that are supposed to help you boycott hold up in Lagos end up breaking down because their engines get clogged with seaweed. I don't know. So it's like 2 million things. And you're worried about, and then before you say, okay, security in Lagos, initially I was making understand that Lagos is very secure. If your car should break down in the evening, even today at Oshodi with police there, you will get robbed. Move from Oshodi, Orile, you will get robbed. Okay, let's move from that. Apapa, you will get robbed. And that is a daily occurrence. And during the day, people get attacked with cutlasses in May Marina, and their phones get stolen from them in broad daylight. So it's not a case of places are safe. And that's in Lagos. So I'm assuming Lagos is like that. Because in Lagos, it's very difficult to drive around and not see police. I did the most case I went to that police to something to stop on that. So yet not so hard. And sometimes in view of the police. So what are we saying? So I mean, we need to repair to our own parts of the country. So I mean, and as far as I'm concerned, if people don't want to stand for election, fine. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, initially I was like, okay, not going to, but if you want to put it down for 30 years, so that at least you won't disturb the electoral process. Sit down as much as possible. If you want, they can deliver food to you, palliatives and rest. Sit down and don't go to work. Hope that the economy improves itself. So we'll go and vote and get the people who are elected and hopefully put pressure. All this madness to stop. So I mean, the way to get your change in a democratic process, very, very crucial here for democracy, is to participate in the electoral process. But you decide you don't want to participate in the electoral process, but you want other people to do your bidding for you, which doesn't sound sensible to me. I'm not condescending or anything. And you said you want to restructure. The restructuring has started, but you're blaming them for not wanting restructuring, even though you stated it in Guardian that he is all for restructuring. The restructuring is not in his hands. Femi Falana also said that restructuring is done by the National Assembly. And the people who are going to be responsible for pushing through a restructuring bill are the assembly members. But for some reason, we have to have a referendum, so they need to put in a bill to have a referendum. People need to vote on it. But you don't want to convince your House of Rep members. You want somebody else to convince the House of Rep members to do your bidding for you, even though they don't want to. They may not want the referendum because they may not go that way, but they should put their finger in their own eye to satisfy you because you are agitating. I'm confused completely. You understand? If we are going to have a country and it's a democratic process, you must understand that democracy means that somebody else has a different opinion. And if the different opinion is not your opinion, you should just live with it. It's just that simple. Majority carries the vote in any democracy in the world. Apart from maybe America that uses electoral college, if you win the popular vote, you will win the presidency. That is how it works. So now what I hear is a lot of people are saying, okay, no, they don't want popular vote anymore because they don't have the population. If you know that the thing is not working for you, make a plan for the next 10 years to give birth to as many children as possible. As simple as it's then, at least you know that over the next 30 years, if the thing is not in your favor right now, in the next 30 years, in a generation, you will have as many people to vote for you as much as you want. Obviously, your economy is going to crash out there. You have more beggars than normal. That's what it is. It's either you plan to win, or instead of complaining every time. So what we just hearing is complaining. Then you now say, okay, no, why should there be more House of Rep members in states that have more people? And if you have equal representation, how can you have equal representation if you have 1 million people and then another state has 1 million people? That's not cheap. So what I can see is that you do not want equity. you want special treatment. From what I said, that's why initially I was like, okay, let's negotiate the system. I don't know if it's not a case of you're looking for equity. If you're looking for equity under the system, yes, there are very cogent arguments for getting equity in the system. It benefits everybody really. Yes, because we want a situation where somebody who knows no one can become somebody without knowing anyone, and that's how Nigeria should function. And then everybody who seeks redress should be able to go to the Judicial Council. If he doesn't have money, probably be able to get like a state-sponsored lawyer. And the lawyer, sponsors him. Simple, short, nice, easy. That one will agree. We agree to it once it's universal basic education everywhere. And then, it's compulsory for people within primary and secondary school to go to school. Simple stuff I can agree to. The rest of it as far as I'm concerned is and then the reason is, it's not a case of you want to chase of people who are, because we assume that because you are from a particular tribe, that everybody within your tribe thinks the same way. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't make any sense. And then some people now decided that, okay, we're even going to go as far as creating the GBOGBO, where they say, if both your parents are not from a particular tribe, you cannot be part of this country. The other people who thought like that were Nazis. We know how that turned out. Then you want to think like that. And you expect somebody who has read history and seen what has happened with eugenics, or the fact that some people feel that they're better than other people. I mean, you have Rwanda as an example. Not even Rwanda, but in Nigeria itself, they had a case of where people thought that certain people were a threat, and we thought it was not that happened. But for some reason, we're still having these discussions about the particular way. You say you want to restructure. Restructuring has started. The things that you want in your restructuring have been approved. And you check what is it that you want in your restructuring that has not been approved apart from restructuring. Restructuring it's a gradual process. You push. You have agreed to 3% of your resources from a particular local government to go to the development of that local government, or should be in an account where they can create a wealth for the people in that place. Restructuring. At the same time, yes, you didn't get your 5%, you got 3%. Try and make do with that. Hopefully in the future, when you put enough pressure, you get your 5%, and even go to 50 at some point. States want control of their resources. It's okay, fine, you want to approach state control. Okay, states want to have control of their resources. How do you do that? Independence of judiciary, independence of legislature, so to make sure that the state government not control everything in the state. And it has been approved. But for some reason, I think structure is kind of odd when you think that will be happening. Anyway, what do I know?
All right. Okay, let me break this in down. All right. Nigeria is a complete structure, like in all angles you want to put it. I agree with you. I'm not denying that fact. Any structure you want to take, like the most messed up country, agree. Nigeria is a poor country. Whatever you want to put it, agree. Anything you say. But let's tell us the truth. So avoiding the truth, and let's talk like to ourselves. I don't know if I'm wrong, please, you guys can correct me. Nigerian issues can be solved in 4 parts. 1, restructuring. 2, referendum. 3, vote with people in the system. 4, revolution. I don't know if I'm wrong yet. If I'm wrong, you guys can correct me. Restructuring, referendum, vote with people in the system, or revolution. Now, we're talking. Right now, we're talking. It's not to do 2 things are not there. We don't have restructuring. We don't have referendum. It's not there right for now. Today, all we have in the ground is election or revolution. Let's tell ourselves, let's stop looking around. Let's just say the way it is and see how we can go through this. The truth is, we have voted the good people in the system or revolution. Can we vote the good people in the system? Yes. Let's do it. Can we vote the people in the system? No, we cannot do it. Let's go. What we have next is the revolution. What is revolution? One, how can we start doing it? The reason why I open this room is because I feel if I'm writing one thing, but I form and that's just to read it. That's why I even stopped in the drop out. I feel it so. But I still begin to feel with PhD, NSP, DDP on their profile, but they keep on putting on and on and on. There's one that provoked me yesterday. Day before yesterday, he asked me if I had done that. He was going around, he didn't answer me. And I missed him again someone asked him the same question yesterday, and he was still asking round, not even nailing the question. I was provoked. The way I said, boss, why are you people repeating yourself every day? So I think we need to like sit down and really actually use our heads. We know this country is completely toxic. We know. But let's sit down and make the real conversation. Let this country divide. If dividing the country is the best solution, I agree. People that have said dividing the country is the best solution. Okay, how can we divide the country? How can we start doing? Let's stop this repeating ourselves like for months. Guys, we don't get tired. To be every day, the same thing. This one, I want to bend out this, a Biafra, this guy don't want you to do this guy, and then they can do this. I think it's high time, let's move this conversation a step ahead. If we want to vote the good people in, how would you? If we do clubhouse, we start making room about calling these reps and senators, insulting them in clubhouse, calling those our governments you have, fire on them, insulting them. Really, we have done something. But we keep on every day, insulting ourselves every day. And those people are there chilling, today they are Dubai, tomorrow they are like next month they are here. They don't even come to clubhouse and see us. They keep on insulting ourselves. Those guys are busy chilling. They will just decide to cut in and they can bam. We just come to clubhouse, we talk for 5-6 days straight. We just even trying to solve the issue, we keep on writing on one thing. If they bound by Twitter, we share the clubhouse in like 2 weeks. Twitter is still bound, and nobody has moved on. Nobody has talked about it. Maybe in Twitter, hashtag Twitter back in Nigeria. Nobody has done that. But we keep on today. They will decide to bring another thing. Tomorrow now, they will say they don't catch another person again. Will come and take a room. So 1 week. How about guys? Let's please now. Let's tell ourselves the truth. We can't be lying to ourselves. Let's tell ourselves the truth. If people will just decide to take tomorrow now, they'll throw something to us now. They'll create the rooms that we talk in that particular thing, and the rest of things that happen have done. These guys, some guys are guiding this guy's house when they went to catch it, when they say they are going to catch. Just imagine how they use our head. That they go to catch, they catch the cat, and how about guys? Let's for once talk to ourselves. That I know it they are going to catch, and people are taking a room about that in clubhouse and they go ask them to catch. 4 people died in the south, 3 or 4. Somebody asked the question that who are their names. A lot of people that didn't call their name. Now we are doing that. And this guy, what do you call it? It all happened in Lagos. This NPAP, a girl was pregnant. She was pregnant when they saw her. She came back in the prison. Nothing happened. So let's tell us, let's stop this simply. Let's say the truth. If election things we want to do, let's get a way to put the good people in. Start buying guns and get ready for the war. Let's stop this every day, enforcing ourselves every day in club. It's not productive. We are waiting for these politicians. We are waiting for them for free, like free of charge. That they're paying us, enforcing ourselves every day. Please, let's start using our head, please. I'm done talking, please. Who is talking next? Who's the Nigerian show talking next?
When are you going to give me time to talk, Abdul?
Oh, sorry, no, sorry, you have to. No, sorry, I didn't see you now. Sorry. You have to talk more about.
It's been a while I've been, trying to give a signal that I want to talk. I want to say something.
I'm sorry, I didn't actually want to say sorry, please. We have 5 minutes. 6 minutes, please.
No problem. What I want to tell you, Mr. Abdul, for putting this title, whatever, is that you have to be accommodating. I think I'm being polite enough. You have to be accommodating, and for you to have put the title, you sure know that you would attract a lot of people that they want to hear what is going to happen here and what you're about to say, what you meant by putting this topic. And I think if I'm being honest with you, you weren't tolerant enough, because number one, you try to skip questions that people ask you politely. Even if I don't have the answer, what will I do? You don't have the answer, but you opening this room, you have to have the answers to so many things they are going to ask you. You invited us here. you invite. Wait. I'm sorry, because that's one of your mistakes you do. You give people mic and yet you interrupt them. Please.
You can't be saying what is wrong now, and I'll just keep quiet.
It's not wrong. It is not.
But the topic there is both written there. So if you somehow you feel my rooms, I don't go if I see something, I don't even go there. So because I feel it's not my own room. So sometimes when I go to room, I see it's not something I like to. I'll leave the room quietly. So if you come to your room and see a topic that doesn't suit your narrative, then you leave the room. I think it's easier that way than stressing yourself out.
Wait, I think that is a bit rude for you to say you leave the room, because if you open a room and nobody is attending the room, that means people take you for a fool. For people to have come here, you have to honor them. You have to see them that, okay, yes, they respect you for coming into your room, does not give you that chance to boss over them. I think you would agree with me.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So now you didn't answer the question a brother asked you not quite long. He asked you that if you were to be in our shoes, what would you have done? What would be your state of mind? What would you be thinking? And you never answered that question. And there's one thing you used to say. You're fond of saying that. You say you don't care, you don't care, you don't care. But if you really don't care, number one, you wouldn't have opened this room. Number two, you would have been in a discussion with us. You wouldn't have been interacting with us. You really do care, but I think you're not being honest with yourself. I'm trying to be. Sorry. Can I will be through in 2 minutes. I think you're not being honest with yourself. I think there's something you are trying to hide from yourself. You are trying to.
I don't care, I don't care. Let me defend I don't care.
Wait. You have the floor in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, please. You have the floor in 2 minutes. I think you don't care is like trying to shy away from the truth. I think you don't want to say much, but you want to listen more to people's opinion while you have yours at the back of your mind or deep down your stomach. But people also, don't forget that people also want to listen to your own point of view. That's why when they come in here, they have to ask you questions and you have to answer. The ones you cannot answer, like this question of how would you feel, I think you don't want to answer that question, not because you don't have an answer to it, because the simple answer to it is that you are going to be as what's it called, as embittered as we are now, if you are to be in our shoes. Even more than, you might do worse. So now I think I've helped you answer that question, because that is the truth. That is not that is you trying to skip questions and answers to some questions that they answer you. A layman knows the answer to those questions. So please, you have to be responsible enough to answer some questions, because I'm sorry that I use that word responsible, because I can't find any other word to use. You have to take up to the responsibility of opening this room in the first place. Thank you.
All right. I think you missed my point of I don't care. What I'm trying to say, I don't care. Anytime it comes, if it's by dividing the country, I don't care. That's my I don't care. I don't feel. I think you missed that, but nevertheless, you can bear me witness. You can bear me witness. Am I a pro-one Nigeria? You've known me for the past 5 or 6 months now. Have you ever seen me battling about one Nigeria?
Yeah, but it's not me.
No, because I just want to clear that, because maybe you don't know me, that's why she's saying this. Since when have I been saying that you're closing up? How long have I been saying this? You have known me for some time.
Yeah, no. You've never been what I feel about people. Have not been
most of my Nando brothers have not been in the same page, because me, I don't even believe in this one Nigeria.
Okay, can I answer? Can I? Okay.
My I don't care means anyhow it comes. If the thing comes, dividing Nigeria, fine. If it comes one Nigeria, fine. Anyhow it comes. That's the meaning of I don't care. That I don't mean I don't care what's happening in Nigeria. Why would I open a room bring in Nigerian people rooms if I don't care? My I don't care means anyhow it comes. If it comes by election, if it comes by anyhow it comes, I just want to have peace. If the war can lead to peace, people will live peace, fine, let's do the war and let everybody live in peace. If the election can give us peace, let's do the election and have peace. That's my reason why I don't care. So don't take my I don't care in different angle. I've never been a one Nigerian person. Everybody that knows me in Clubhouse knows this. I do that. I want Nigeria is not. Anyhow, Biafra, I did some research of Biafra. I mean about you. I have Igbo friends that I do business with. There's a day I went to the market to buy some stuff. So I was in Clubhouse, then people were listening and people were talking about Biafra. Then they asked me, some people guys asked me, Abdul, this one, are you listening to Biafra radio? I said, no, it's just a clarification like that. So I wanted to go to where the courts, this wouldn't work to a place, noisy. So I gave them the phone, so they were listening to what's going on. When I come back, they were asking me, this phone is interesting about Biafra. I said, so you guys have a Biafra? They said, yes. One guy was saying that he wants to have Biafra. I said, that's interesting. So I engaged them. They were like 5 or 6 guys there. They were all Igbo guys and they all based in Bauchi. I asked them, so you guys, all of them want Biafra. But what they want Biafra, but they still want to stay in the north. I said, so how will you want your own country and you want to stay in the north? I engaged them. I said, why do you want that? If you say you want Biafra, so I think it's better you go back to your land and work for it very well than you stay in the north trying to get Biafra. I don't think it's going to work that way. If you want this, if I can't be in the Lagos now, I say I want Adiwa and I'm in the Lagos. It doesn't make sense. So I told them, if you really want Biafra, go back to your land and fight for Biafra. I think you guys will have more strength for doing that. You can't stay in the north and be insisting that you want Biafra. And it was a suggestion, and they said, no. Once they know he has property here, he's not going back to the south, or he wants Biafra. So I can realize that all the Igbo guys are engaged. I'm not sure I've ever met any single Igbo guy that say he doesn't want Biafra. I've never met one. I don't know if there's one here that can tell me he doesn't want Biafra. I've never met any single Igbo guy that will tell me that he doesn't want Biafra. I've never met anyone. Please, if there's anyone here, please raise your hand. I will say this is the first person I've seen an Igbo guy doesn't want Biafra. So all the people have engaged with one Biafra, then I'll come and tell them, no, you won't get Biafra. I'm being stupid to do that. Because I've not met a single person that says he doesn't want that. So why would I be telling him? It's only Oduduwa people. I met some people that say they don't want to do that. Some say they want to do that.
Shetimbo, our brother and sister in turn disgrace in Kidini.
So I can't say I'll block his way. So if he what he wants, get it. The God who made me, let you Biafra. Anyhow you want to get it, just get it. That's what I'm trying to say. The issue of when I said election, my reason of bringing election here is, if you really want your Biafra, what I would advise the Igbo guys, go back, create a party, names that have attachment to Biafra on it. Vote your senators and the reps and governor that has the same movement Biafra, because I don't realize that all the Igbos want Biafra. That's my own personal research there. So if that's actually what most of people want, I think it's more productive and more helpful if they create a party, not PDP, not APC, a party that has Biafra on it. So any senator or reps or governor that will stand on that party has to have the same movement Biafra. So if you come with PDP or APC, they won't vote you in because they feel you are for Nigeria. But if you are for Biafra, they will vote you in. And once those senators and reps happen to be the next governors and senators and reps and senators, they will definitely move that motion of they want their own country. I don't know if I'm making sense here, please. You should not misunderstand me, please. So my advice for Biafrans, I think it's more productive than coming to clubs every day, writing, calling histories, telling or bringing history that happened 1960. I think let's draw a line and move ahead. And my own advice to people that move ahead is think just cross the line. What happened 1960 has passed. Dragging it back is stopping you from having your own country. If really you want your own country, I think it's step to vote people that has the same mindset of fear of Biafra. Vote them in the system. They will definitely get that Biafra for you. But if you come in clubhouse every day writing, insulting Arewa, insulting me, I don't have the means to talk to any governor. I don't have the means to talk to any reps. Talking to me in clubhouse, it's a dead end. I'm not going to do anything for you. There's nothing I can do.
Okay, can I respond to that, please?
Respond, please.
Thank you. You spoke about people talking about Biafra, yet they are staying in the Hausa land, and they want Biafra, and they are staying there agitating for it. Well, in a civilized country, or what's it called, region, that kind of statement is not going to be used, because the English people, they left the European Union without telling their people to come back home. They find a way, a peaceful way to live, and of which you know that me and you, except we want to lie to each other, we know that these things can't work that way in Nigeria, because these people are tyrants and they don't care about people's lives and properties. But the English people, they find a very peaceful way to do it, without putting the lives of their people at stake, without even arguing blindly. Would you people come back home so that we can discuss about these things and all that? Our people can stay wherever they want to stay while they agitate for their country. Is allowed in a civilized country, in a civilized state. But the problem we are facing here is that people that are getting old, that are getting old of Nigeria government, that they have the power at hand now, they don't really care. They are non-negotiable. They don't want to negotiate. They don't want to say anything. They just want to hold it more violently as much as they can. Now you refer to the what's it called, the NSAS. You see what they done there. You see, in a country, in a sensible country, all those things would not happen. You would not deny your people the freedom of speech. Then number two, that you said about please remember me what you just said about I've forgotten. I wanted to raise a point about that, but I forgot. Sorry. Maybe if I remember, I'll just raise my mic again, because I really have an answer to all what you said.
All right, thank you. Abdul, can I have a go? Can I have a go, Abdul? You have a go. Okay. No, you have the mic now. You have the mic. Oh, okay, thank you. So, here's the thing. In as much as I've been listening to you, and I've been listening to quite a number of people, in as much as you say you don't care, your voice, the emotion that you speak with, actually betrays the fact that anyone listening to you knows that you actually care. What I get from you is not I don't care. What I get from you is disappointment. And there's nothing wrong with that. Well, let me understand. What kind of disappointment? Let me understand. Disappointment in the sense that you feel disappointment in the sense that you feel that you have this country. When I say you, I don't mean you per se. Like, we have this country that you, in your opinion, you believe that has challenges, but has potentials and is going somewhere. And some people are actually trying to destroy that very institution, that very country. That's what I sense coming from you. You can say like you don't care as many times as you want, but I think listening to your voice, there are many ways to communicate. It's not just the words that come out of your mouth that communicates. Having said that, I think, I don't know if I would call it an advice or suggestion. Yeah, I think I'll go for suggestion. I would suggest just the way that I've listened to the nuance of what you say, right? Maybe you should listen beyond the words that are coming out of people's mouths. Maybe you should listen to the pain, their disappointment as well. One thing that I can tell you for sure is that I've never met anyone who wants to break up Nigeria, who wants to organize Nigeria, who wants to secede, who wants to restructure it, that started from that position. Everybody started from a position of one Nigeria, and then the disappointment, and then Nigeria happens to them, and they get to the sent you here is defending Nigeria with as much passion as he's talking about the effort. You'll be shocked if you have not seen it. The other thing that I want to address here is saying people.
Ẹ̀yin mi ṣe ká kúrò nínú house yìí ní ká máa lọ nípa kíní ìyàbí lórí mo rí pé ẹ̀yin 16 ṣì wà nínú Facebook. Should I end the broadcast? Because ibi tó máa wà dọ́là nìyẹn bó ṣe wà yẹn wọn ò níṣẹ́. A lot of houses are there tí wọ́n ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀. And àwọn Fúlàní yìí ló máa ń kọ́kọ́ ṣí ilé yẹn. I'm waiting for your comments. Ṣé kí n pa ni àbí báwo?
Or suggest that people should leave and go back to wherever they come from, to go develop that side instead of staying in the north. Are you thinking about the north economically? Are you thinking about the economic impact of that? Or are you saying it out of disappointment, out of being hurt by people you feel like right now these people are betraying me? Is that where it's coming from?
I need your comments. Let me finish.
I don't want to forget what I want to say. Let me finish. They made a reference to the European Union. When people go their separate ways. I used to go to Slovakia a lot. I know a lot about that region.
Czechoslovakia.
It wasn't out of animosity. It was based on we are very similar, but there is difference. Let's go our separate ways. It was done amicably. They are still a strong trading bloc. They still regard each other as family today, but they are different countries as we speak today. Nobody, those of us who are agitating for a kind of organization, something else, I won't even call it organization, we are talking about a renegotiation of our social contract. There are several approaches to this. There are several ways this can be done. The bottom line is one thing that everyone accepts is it's not working. Even you two, you've accepted that it's not working. Nobody is talking about a situation where we have to break up in such a bitter way that to talk to each other, to trade, that nobody wants an India-Pakistan situation. Nobody wants that.
Can I have another yes?
Nobody wants that. Iran.
From 4 or 5 people.
Turkish situation. Nobody wants that. I don't think you want that either. Because there's nothing in that for anybody. I suggest you guys,
yes or no,
from the north that are listening, just what you did here, I understand what you're trying to do here. I think I do. It's a way of research as well.
If you find it interesting, Mrs. Elizabeth, I'm going to leave it for you.
Listen to the people talking to you too. Don't listen to just the word that is coming out of their mouth. Listen to the nuance. Listen to the heart that they are expressing to you. Listen to what their reasons, why they want, why they are saying we want to go our separate way. Understand that going our separate way doesn't mean that we do not want to be good neighbors. There is no way we will stop trading with each other. There's no way we'll stop interacting together. It's not going to happen. I hope I've made some points.
Bluetooth mode.
Let me make something clear. I didn't say go and develop a region. I said go and fight for a Biafran. You missed that point, so let me go there. Man, you have the floor, please. I don't want to back and forth.
So Anthony, your submission was powerful and a lot of it was true. But there is something I was called about for this when I first joined Clubhouse. I think people have learned enough about me now to know that I'm somebody that stands for the truth, right? There is something you did which is very personal to me because it happens to me. My mom does it all the time, and it's something that happens, right? It's a natural thing. Which my mom is Delta. I guess you're Igbo. It's a natural thing we Southerners tend to be, is that we're a very good empath, right? A very good empath, but then we take a step forward to try and deduce what the person, and not just deduce, but actually assert what the person is saying. And the reason why I think personal is because I used to be very emotional. I used to be an emotional person. I used to be very naive. I was like a kumbaya kind of person, right? And then when I started growing, I noticed that it started, well, like the best I was glitching with my mom, and then we just used to argue about everything. And I literally needed to go to a very strong point of maturity where I just didn't respond to everything she said. And I a lot of the time, because what happens is, often she, and this is not I love the main, like the reason I'm who I am today, but the other thing where she would like get really upset, and so like she wouldn't even say anything, and then she basically built a series of assertions and based on what she was quote unquote reading, and the vibe she was reading, like vibe 100%, but her interpretation was so off. And why am I saying this? You asserted that Abdul was
nǹkan tó wà ńbẹ̀ ni wípé àwọn Fúlàní àti Yorùbá àti Hausa àti Igbo ni wọ́n discuss.
If you go with the 4 personality types, I know people have said that it's not valid anymore, then you should go with the 2. But I still like to go with the 4 because to a reasonable extent, I think that it kind of holds, right? There are people who are called choleric, right? And leaders, there's different types of leadership. One of them is choleric. As I grew, because I'm a very conscious person, I self-analyze and reflect that. I like to basically do a lot of R&D, right? A lot of Northerners are choleric, right? They are choleric, which means that if they say something, they usually mean what they say, and choleric can tend to be misinterpreted. And I feel like trying to explain what he meant by he doesn't care. But twice I've seen, first of all, Omoba said it and then you said it. You asserted that it's because he feels betrayed. That's not what he basically agrees with you that like the country is in a mess. But Northerners are choleric, and choleric tend to be very pragmatic. They tend to be more action-oriented people, action-oriented driven. And so when you said you don't care, you're right that there's something that you heard that was behind the general submission of what thing is frustrated. He literally said he's been here for 4 months and all he's done is report to each other. And this is the problem, right? This is the issue, is that there is pain and they should like notice that they're not listen to pain. And I think that's probably where I guess they can improve, and I think they've actually improved a lot. Like even Abdul's patience. Abdul used to tell me like earlier in covers that he doesn't really have patience, and I've seen that his patience has improved. But what I think now the South we need to improve as well is that we stop assuming we know what is in people's heads, right? It's just that nobody like that. It just doesn't work, right? You can try and empathize with someone, but then if you assert that you're not God, you can't read his mind. If you assert that you know something that's not that somebody said, most of the time you end up being wrong. And that's what happened, and that's why this conversation always evolves. It's back and forth and insulting and all of that. Now that being aside, I think there is a major problem. There's an issue of politicization. There's politics going on, and it's very sad because there are people doing work on the ground. Like I know that people doing work, and I communicate with a few of the people. Even the people who started the Yoruba World Congress initially. The word picked up agitation eventually, but there was no agitation in the word initially. Because it was built in a way that exactly what is happening now wouldn't happen. You understand? Where people wouldn't just be insulted for no absolute reason. I know you're not the kind of person to insult people, but I'm just saying we need to unpack these things, right? We need to look them in the face and we need to tell ourselves the whole truth. Everybody, not one side, not the other side, because I've heard the onus is on one Nigerianist to tell us how we will say, and then on the other side say the onus is on separatists to tell us how they will live. It's just like we need to realize that we have mutual problems. Like there's mutual problems which we all need to resolve first. And do that. We all know what they are. So rather than insulting us, like you said, I've not seen how insulting each other back and forth has done anything on this app. I'm going to be very honest. What I have seen is people who have been trying to do stuff, who have gotten disillusioned, and the reason why I know this is I'm trying to push. I'm currently, I don't know if you've probably been in the Nigerian Development Hub room this time. There's a bunch of people, a lot of people on this stage are in that hub, right? I've seen people who are trying to push something, get disillusioned, and then get discouraged, and then not know how to move forward because people keep trying to push this narrative. And obviously there's people who are genuinely hurt, so I'm not lumping them into that. But there is people who have gone beyond hurt because they're conscious pain is something that pain is reactionary. But then there's people who are politicizing and it's not reactionary. They're just trying to put a certain narrative to achieve a certain political end goal. You understand what I'm saying? And so those people are people who now need to really decide what they want to do. Do they want to stir up sentiments? Are they trying to make a name for themselves? And if they are, they should very much know they wouldn't be the first in line to try to do that. And the last people who have tried to do that, they got bit by it, because you can't build anything on lies, you can't build anything on deception. And I'm saying this very clearly now because I have the intel. We speak with people who are security experts. You understand what I'm saying? So now we have to decide what is it. I mean, people say they want to leave Nigeria. That's like nobody's arguing with that. I think Abdullah Aziz said he's not arguing with that, right? But people who is it that it's like what is your is it the safety of the people you want? If it's the safety of the people you want, then let's start working towards that. You understand what I'm saying? Because I've actually put some things down, and I was actually trying to reach out to a few people. I'm still in connection with the people who will get stuff done, and I will know who they will get stuff done. But at the same time, there's other people who I try to reach out to. Hopefully, they will reach out to me in more recent time. But in the end, it's about what are we trying to? Are we trying to make names for ourselves on Clubhouse? Because I mean, you get chicken things on Clubhouse. There's serious things. There's real value to be gotten, and real respect to be gotten by doing things the right way and by speaking the truth than politicizing things. You understand what I'm saying? So if that's what we're trying to do, let's know what exactly we're trying to do and let's get it done. I think that's all Abdul is trying to say.
You just did the thing to you, like you're the mayor, haven't you?
No, okay. Let's say one thing now.
Yeah, go on.
Let's stop lying to ourselves. Please, let's just stop lying to ourselves. I've been a club for some time, I know how it rolls. Let's just start. The problem we're having here is we keep on lying to ourselves. Let's tell ourselves the truth, no matter how bitter it is. Everybody knows the truth. I've never been for one Nigeria. Anyhow it comes. So we're telling me I'm trying to get information. I'm not a politician. I'm self-employed. I've not been using NEPA light in my workshop for the past 9 years. 11 years. I don't use NEPA light. I run my workshop with strictly generator. So I don't know what you think, because what I'm trying to say here, let's be productive. That's what I'm trying to say here. And I give a scenario to the Igbo here. Vote the people that you want in the system, and they remove your motion for you. But you all avoid that. You all avoid that totally. So do you have a better option? If you have a better option, to God who made me, I'll help you out. And even though I told the Igbo guy from Bauchi, go to your place and make sure you get those people in your system and get your biafra. You are here in Bauchi, you can't get your biafra even if you're not down there. If you're down there, that's where you can decide who to be your next governor, your next senator. That was what I was saying. I didn't know you should go and develop yourself. I didn't even say that, but you didn't to respond. That's why you didn't even pick the actual point aside. Whatever I said, if I like, you say all rubbish stuff, but at least I said something that maybe you're supposed to talk on. Vote the people you think that have the same movement with you. Imagine you're for Biafra. So Imani is for Biafra. And you guys go in there and make sure, tell anybody that wants to stay in this party has to be someone that wants Biafra. And people in that state want that Biafra thing. So definitely you have the senators and reps and governors that are for Biafra. I think that you achieve your goal by doing that. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong here.
I will correct you.
Sorry, Anthony, can I come in here?
Let me just respond.
Okay, talking go. Yeah.
But I think you said a couple of minutes ago that you don't believe in the electoral process. And now you're advising the Biafrans to go and form a party and elect reps to deliver Biafra to them.
I said suggestion. I don't think it composes a suggestion. Since there's no election, there's no war. So what exactly, how can we achieve?
Yeah, but I said it earlier that the people in the north should join us in the south to speak to our reps, to say, sponsor a deal, let's ask for a
I have to join you. Okay, please, let's stop lying to ourselves now. Please, let's just stop lying to ourselves. To God who made me. I'm saying this between me and my God. I didn't say anything to make you happy, to make you feel bad, nothing on my mind. To God who made me. I'm saying this.
I'm not feeling bad at all.
So, I'm just telling you reality. You don't feel as if I'm trying to control you. I'm just telling you the way it is.
I just advise. You believe or you don't take it. I'm just advising. But what I'm trying to say here, no election, no war. So how can we move forward? Let's talk in personal.
You're looking at two extremes. You're looking at options.
All right, okay, you win.
Have you heard the revolution?
You win. You Tosin, you win. I'm wrong. Tosin, I'm wrong, Tosin. I take my words back. Don't do anything. Let's tell what to do. I take that back out. Thank you, Abdul. I feel like,
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Can I say something? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
To rant and make noise for no reason and laugh at it through election or through violence. It's as simple as that. Tell us what you think.
You're the one ranting over the journalist, so because if you just come to conversation, I will interject because you just come here to do not come here and say people are ranting. You do not come here and say people are ranting.
Brother, I said, then you.
Yomi, you just stop him from talking and I stop him too. So, how you guys want to do? Let me just let. All right. No, I want to finish my point. Then you can make it. Yomi, let him finish. Then you can perform what he said. Yomi, well, I was allowed to you, not stopping from talking. No, I'm here before you. Yomi, let him finish. Then you debunk all he's going to say. Is that okay? It's okay. Okay. So, I'm here listening to what people are going to say, but I hate this idea of going back and forth, trying to say his mind on it. Doesn't matter what he thinks. Tell us what you think. You want to be an election, you want to be a election. How would you plan to get it?
Bluetooth mode.
Now, people will try to find a way of blaming others
for their inability to sort themselves out to solve their problem. You want to break us. I don't want it. Why should I fight for you to get what you want? Why do we keep getting all this? Oh, let northerners, do this for us. Accepting the fact that you cannot even do it yourself. I mean, you are simply telling us that you can't achieve it. If you can, then why are you coming to clubhouse to blame people that have nothing to do with it? Now, speaking of northerners helping you to achieve it, it's actually the northerners that are trying to even help you achieve your biafra or breakup. As I 5 days ago, Northern Elders Group dragged the National Assembly along with the AGF, the Senate, and whatever, to make sure they give people their country before even, proceeding with constitutional amendment. This is done by the Northern Group. I expect the same energy from the people that actually wanted this breakup. Now you are accusing people of, not fighting for you, whatever. Now they are doing it. Perhaps you can also put the same energy. We want to see your representatives in the National Assembly doing the same thing. They are not doing it. If you cannot convince your people, if you cannot convince your household to carry your line and do what you want, what right do you have to blame others for not doing it for God's sake? You don't want the country. Fine, elect leaders that can give you that. If you don't believe in election, how do you want to get it? Through violence? It's a question. Tell us what you think. And I need to reiterate, it's the Northern Group that runs the National Assembly, the AGF, and the government to the court, to make sure they give people that want to break up their country before making any constitutional amendment. I want to see the same energy from the people that actually wanted this breakup. I'm fine with the topic. If people don't like the topic, as far as I'm concerned, really, I'm just here to listen and I want to hear what people have to say about the topic. But this idea of, tell us what you think, you are emotional, you are this. Come on, tell us what you think. That's my submission. Thank you.
I think I can come in now. Abdul. Yeah, Abdul. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Just me. I think Antonio is supposed to go before you. Sorry. Antonio is supposed to go before you. Sorry. If you allow you, fine. Antonio spoke before. Antonio was supposed to speak before you. It's okay. If Antonio says it's okay, fine. You don't need to argue.
It's okay. Let me speak up.
well. I'll speak after me.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Talitu, thank you for your submission. But you shouldn't go by the way of trying to. I'm not trying to make you angry in any sense. Because I've come to realize that ever since I've been on this in this clubhouse, I've realized that the outside around they try to be distressed about the whole thing. You don't have to be distressed before you make your submission or try to use some kind of rhetoric words and things like that. I think it's not proper. Let me
allowing plan.
No, it's peaceful,
to give an example of the hate rhetoric are you saying?
Okay. You were saying people are tyrants and things like that.
I never use the word tyrant. People are listening.
You were talking to a woman the other time and you told her to shut up and let you. I've been to Arewa room. You always want to respect your woman a lot, and I observe that. And which I think is beautiful.
This emotion. See, guys. I'm not
going far.
Just make your submission. You must not drag woman, drag about.
Even you look. Hold on, Abdul. Even you just interject me. It's not so much.
I'm sorry. Let's go as men towards the sleep, not the rapper. Please, let's make a submission.
It's cool. It's good. Like when we as human beings gather together here and we cannot understand, we cannot have an healthy conversation. It's not good. So we have to advise one another to do some kind of words. You understand? That's why I'm trying to correct that side. If I'm not wrong, you understand what I'm saying? I've been to Arewa room. People try to conduct their woman, respect their woman, and things. I want to say here as well, regardless of which tribe. Like that. Thank you very much. So my it's okay. Good, it's okay. But my point is that first I'll go to the dawn, because if I can hear the dawn properly, I think it's from Southwest. It's an Hausa or Fulani living in the Southwest, and because through his accent of English, accent, and he made mention of Lagos State University hospital around the Yaraba. So you must have been someone who grew up around that side. With all those places, I understand it. I know those places well. There are a lot of slums, dirty, Yaraba, Luke, come to Oju, LAGBA, all those places. I'm a Lagos State citizen. I'm a bona fide citizen of Lagos State. You understand me? So that's not the case here presently. You see, when we go to, I don't know if any one of you understand the way information technology works, In the first place, you have a computer, right? And then on this computer, you need to have an operating system on this computer. And this operating system is corrupt. And if your operating system is corrupt, how do you think you can access the system itself properly if you have a very corrupt operating system? In the first place, you will not be able to, if you guys really understand it, you will not be able to operate your system properly. You will not even be able to go through your information technology in your system and stuff like that. You will not be able to even, whatever you want to do on your system, you won't be able to do it because you have a corrupt operating system. If I am wrong, somebody can correct that. So now, the Don, you said something about why people are not holding their local government and stuff like that accountable. These are not federal. You see, the whole system in Nigeria, the system, that entity, that Nigeria entity itself is corrupt. And if a nation fails to build its own people, if a nation fails to build a structure, you understand, a structure, if there is no structure in anywhere in the world, either the local government, the state government, the federal, nothing will work out. I said, nothing will work out. You get my point? That goes to the way to this operating system. Like if the operating system of Nigeria is corrupt, you understand? You cannot expect anything to work properly in that nation. Anything will just be chaos, catastrophe, slums here and there, pretending you have nice buildings there and things like that. So in that sense, you need to build everything from the beginning, because it's not gonna be from the middle. And in that case, I might decide to put Linux operating system on my computer, or I might decide to put Windows Server on my computer.
You know what, please, George. When they tell me how someone, you are lying out your correctly. You mean we are all past all this thing you're saying? Nigeria is a complete structure.
No, hold on.
I'm probably let me I will all agree Nigeria is completely fucked up. Nobody is denying that. The system has gone into well. Wallahi, I'll take you down. Listen to me first. This country is completely fucked up. I agree. The system is dead. There's no life even on the system, not sort of even putting the virus in it. The system is completely shut down. You can't even charge it. The battery is dead. The charger is born. There's no light even on it. You all know that, bro. What we are trying to say is, we have not even talked about the topic there. If you keep on going, you don't, bro.
Yeah, but Don was responding to it. Why didn't you stop Don when he was bringing this issue up?
Because you know what you guys usually do. You guys only have this how you do. It's not cool. Let's make your solution based on this topic. If you cannot, thank you. I want to end this now. Are you going to make your solution on the topic or not?
I'm making my submission on the
topic. If you want to put your mic down, take it down. If you want to put your mic down, take it down. Make your submission, please. You don't wait.
This is tyranny. These are the people you live with. In the same country.
You don't Nigeria never like. You don't know the corrupt leaders. You don't know. You just make your own solution and you end there. So, can you address the topic? Yes or no? Stop coming to John, coming to me, coming to me. It's not productive, please. We are fast one in that part.
Abdul, please. You see, let me say something. You see, if you see somebody on Clubhouse, they are not like your kids, or you can just be gagging and things. We need to show.
Please, everyone, please, don't stop,
Abdul, calm down.
Can you count? You don't have anything to talk to more. If not, let's just end it. The way we are going, you wasting our time. You don't. You have. Anyone have solution? Fine, make it our head. So it will make sense. Yes, fine.
Nǹkan tó jẹ́ kó ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ni wípé torí pé Fúlàní ẹgbẹ́ ti wọlé Sálísù bó ṣe ń ṣe nìyẹn.
Lagos is representation of Nigeria. Every single tribe is represented in Lagos. Every single one. And Lagos is not functional. So it's just a microcosm of what's happening in the country, basically. So if you can get Lagos to function, the rest of the country will function. I mean, it's just saying, because, like now, for example, if I was in Kano State, I would not be worrying about the problems in Israel. Same way, if I was in Imo State, I shouldn't be worrying about the problems in Kano State, except they directly.
You are going to Islam. You are going to Islam.
Okay, let me finish now.
The topic there, you don't wait for them. No election, no war. Is anything within those two things? If there's not, forget about all these now separate topics. Let's just forget about all those topics.
Okay, so what do you want?
Is there any way we can work on this? There's any way, if it's work, how can we? If it's how to stop that, can we do it? Please, let's just stop this going back and forth. It's not productive. We have been in clubhouse for long. We're supposed to have a discussion. We're not supposed to be talking by now. Let's pass ahead. Let's not be doing every day the same thing every day. It's not productive.
So let's do it this way. Since obviously I'm trying to build up so that people understand where I'm coming from. What I said. So basically, I was talking about the confusion that was coming in different directions. Is it fine if I go ahead and do? basically. So I'm coming from a different direction. What I was saying about something is not affecting me directly. Because I can only see past my nose, basically, and what I read about. So if you say, okay, fine, elections are rigged, you cannot rig. You cannot rig an election. I know why people do not want to have this election, because it's not that elections are rigged. You can only rig an election if people don't attend, which is what people don't get. So, like for example, when you're printing on your ballot sheet, that's where you get to relationship and rest. You only leave space for thumbprint. I would like to end the broadcast. Everybody attends the election. They will thumbprint. They can only thumbprint in the spare spaces. You can even find the common ground is causing the issue of Nigeria. Oh, sue me, Baba mi Olulabi. I just have to end it. We've been here for past 4 hours, almost 4 hours, 3 hours 30 minutes. The most painful part is that I want to mashi house. I want to mashi house. And I want not the Nisheri, but brother a day, Gungunde, Oberes need Bino Kagidi Borini Bifano Yibo. So, you don't want to talk about time mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ níbẹ̀ yẹn ni pé wọ́n fún mi láyè láti sọ̀rọ̀ Salisu yẹn mo fẹ́ bá sọ̀rọ̀. Ó ní wípé kò kàn yín tí nínú pé agitate pé kí Nàìjíríà dá dúró àbí kó pín. Agree nípa pé kí Nàìjíríà pín, you want one Nigeria. But kí ló dé tẹ́ fi rise topic nípa pé nípa àwọn tí wọ́n ò fẹ́ one Nigeria. If you don't want to talk about it, if you don't have anything to do about it, if you don't really care, you shouldn't bring up the topic about the agitation. So now, àwọn èèyàn tó wá fẹ́ kí Nigeria pín wọ́n wá, you can't stand the heat from them. Ṣé rí pé ọ̀rọ̀ pé being tyrant yẹn ó wà nú ẹ̀jẹ̀ wọn gidi gan. Ẹ ká lọ jókòó. Tó bá yá bóyá títí ìrọ̀lẹ́ mo máa ṣe ètò lórí èmi fúnra mi ni màá sọ̀rọ̀. So we have to enlighten ourselves the more. Ìdí tí mo fi ń gbé àwọn nǹkan tí mo ń gbé wá yìí, ìdí tí mo fi ń gbé wá. Yes, they are dictatorship and fallacy. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ṣe rí ìdí tí mo fi ń gbé àwọn fídíò yìí wá, màá ṣẹ̀ wá sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí because a lot of people wọ́n ní dúró sórí broadcast because wọ́n ti rí pé Yorùbá broadcast ni wọ́n dẹ̀ expect kó yẹ pé Yorùbá ni mò ń sọ. Ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tá a bá ń ṣe nǹkan tá a sọ pé a fẹ́ dá dúró tí tá a ń pariwo lórí social media tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé àwọn èèyàn wa kankan wọ́n sọ wípé kan pariwo ní ṣe máa gbọ́ kí Fúlàní bọ́ sórí social media bẹ́ẹ̀ yìí ṣe ń pariwo lórí social media yìí. Fúlàní wà lórí social media but ẹ̀ sí lórí app àwọn ẹ̀rọ ayélujára ibi táwọn wà ẹ̀yin ò sí ń bẹ̀. So now tẹ́ bá rí èèyàn kan tó gbé wá fún yín láti gbọ́ nǹkan tí àwọn Fúlàní ń rò or bó ṣe operate or nǹkan tí wọ́n ń sọ for you láti mọ̀ where you stand or how to intensify your struggle ní dúró because nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ gbọ́ lẹ fẹ́ gbọ́. Yet ní àwọn èèyàn tó ń criticize wa tí wọ́n tó ń pariwo lé wa tí wọ́n fẹ́ máa kàjó wa pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ wọn wípé ẹ̀yin kàn pariwo lórí social media ni àwọn Fúlàní ń ṣiṣẹ́ lọ lábẹ́lẹ̀. Wọn ò ṣiṣẹ́ lọ lábẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn náà nínú ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń sọ ní orí app tí mo wà yìí. The name of the app is called Clubhouse. So lórí app tí mo wà yìí ní ìsinyìí wọ́n ń sọ̀rọ̀ thereby ẹ máa nínú ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n bá ń sọ ẹ máa rí àṣírí wọn níbẹ̀. So màá wá explain ẹ̀ better títí ìrọ̀lẹ́. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n fi gbogbo wálẹ̀. Olódùmarè á bá wa ṣe òjò àgbèwá láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Ó dàbọ̀.